next on Sunday Night Baseball. It's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. It's a beautiful evening here in Atlanta, not too hot, just perfect for a ball game on Father's Day, interleague play. It's the Boston Red Sox going for the sweep against the Atlanta Braves. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Peter Gammons, and welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. Happy Father's Day. And we've got a matchup tonight, Joe. It reminds you of an all-star game or maybe a World Series game. Two great pitchers. John Smoltz is going for the Braves up against Curt Schilling of the Red Sox. Schilling is going for his 10th win of the year here tonight.
And, John, you know how great Schilling has been the last three starts? He has only walked 3 hitters in his last 8 starts, so he is pitching great. He is not helping them beat him. He's had some trouble with the home runs, but this guy is pitching like the best I've ever seen from Curt Schilling. And not only that, it came at the proper time for the Red Sox. Their starting pitcher has been struggling, but guess what? Curt Schilling has been the leader of that staff, and he continues to lead. And I expect him to pitch very, very well tonight because he will not walk anybody.
All right, so Schilling off to a great start, as we said. Now, he's up against this Atlanta ball club, and when the Atlanta ball club is a slumping ball club. But right now, Peter Gammons, the Red Sox are out there, and they're at the top of their division, but they are not scoring the kind of runs that we anticipate for the Boston Red Sox.
No, John, they're 7th in the league in runs. There are a lot of factors. I mean, Coco Chris got hurt in the first week. Both had the bad hand, and he had a very severe bout with kidney stones. They traded offense for defense at shortstop. But one of the biggest problems has been David Ortiz. And back on April 18th, Tampa Bay manager Joe Madden put on a shift he called the 3-4 defense, and he has seen nothing but shifts ever since. He had an OPS of 1128, a batting average of 333 on that day. Since then, his OPS is 834, his batting average 249. And concurrently, that week he also hurt his knee. But finally, that knee's getting a little bit better. They played 11 more games on the road than at home. They expect him to go home, get hot, and have Manny Ramirez behind him. They think this slump will be short-lived.
All right, Peter. Now, the Atlanta Braves, and we're used to seeing the Braves on top year after year. They've won 14 consecutive first-place finishes, but, Joe, they've lost 6 in a row. They've lost 16 of their last 19. And one thing you always knew was going to be a given for the Braves was pitching. But their pitching has been a problem, too, except tonight they've got the ace going, John Smoltz.
Well, John, if John Smoltz has his slider going tonight, I expect him to dominate this Red Sox lineup. But if he doesn't, then he's going to struggle. But one thing about John Smoltz, he hasn't pitched poorly, but he hasn't pitched as well as John Smoltz can. He has left ball games leading 4 times, and the bullpen has given up the lead. But by the same token, John Smoltz knows that he's supposed to win ball games, not just pitch well. So he's going out there tonight to win this ball game, not to go out there and make a great showing for John Smoltz.
All right, so we've got the great matchup, Smoltz, Schilling. It's Father's Day. We're very happy to have you with us sharing this Father's Day celebration. A lot of families are here enjoying the ball game in person. A lot of Red Sox fans are here as well. John Smoltz coming in for the bullpen. And the first pitch of the game, Smoltz against Boston when we return.
Presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by State Farm. Great service and great rates. You can get it all from State Farm. And Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution.
83 degrees at game time here in Atlanta, and the Braves have just taken the field. So we're still a couple of moments away from getting started. Mark Loretta, who will be hitting second, out on deck, preparing his bat. Let's take a look at the Boston batting order presented by Taco Bell. Kevin Youkilis is the leadoff man, hitting .318. Then Mark Loretta, .297 at second base. David Ortiz, 19 homers, 59 RBIs, but only a .264 average. First base, Manny Ramirez, and he is slumping lately. He's in left field, back in the lineup today. He missed yesterday's game when his knee was bothering him. Trot Nixon is in right field, hitting .317. Jason Varitek had the big hit here yesterday, a 3-run double. It'll be Coco Crisp, the former Cleveland outfielder, in center field. Alex Gonzalez, the former Florida Marlin, at shortstop, doing a great job defensively. And Kurt Schilling here in the National League Park will bat. He's hitting ninth. All up against John Smoltz, the veteran right-hander. There's Kevin Youkilis taking a couple of practice cuts, and there is the 39-year-old John Smoltz, former Cy Young winner in the National League.
Well, John Smoltz is still one of the better pitchers in the league. Even though you look at that record, it's not exactly what he's been looking for. But he can still be overpowering with a great fastball, slider, and a split. And he always pitches his team into the late innings because he's tough. He's tough mentally as well as physically. And one thing about John Smoltz, you know, a lot of people say, well, if he's got his split working, he can be overpowering. I still think the slider is the key pitch for John Smoltz because I think that makes his splitter even that much better.
In the National League East, the Mets won again today, and they have a 9.5 game lead over the Phillies, then the Nationals, then the Marlins, who are red hot. But the Atlanta Braves, look where they are, dead last, 13.5 out. It's the furthest behind they've been in any season since 1990, 16 years ago, and that was before this remarkable stretch of success that they had. 14 consecutive first place finishes for the Braves. Here's the list out there. 1994 not among them, as that was the strike year. That season was not played out. Smoltz to Youkilis, a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and we are underway. 0-1.
And the Red Sox moved Youkilis back to the leadoff spot because when Coco Crisp came back, he was a little rusty, and Youkilis does get on base. He sees a lot of pitches in each and every at-bat. The only thing that he doesn't offer you at the top of the lineup is some speed, but he does get on base a lot.
He's at 45 walks and a .434 on-base average. And the many Red Sox fans in attendance doing a Red Sox cheer, and the Braves fans don't appreciate it. And there's ball 2 outside.
I still think for this offense to get geared up, as Peter Gammons was talking about earlier, I still think they need Coco Crisp at the top of the lineup. And for him to perform well, add some speed to the top, and I think it'll be a much better offense.
And now Smoltz behind him 3-1. So just what you're talking about, Joe, we're seeing displayed here by Youkilis.
Takes a lot of pitches.
Swung the bat.
Well, he just takes a lot of pitches, and that's to his credit because he still is hitting over 300. He does a great job.
3-1 the count. One is driven into right center field. That's the big part of the yard. Francoeur, he gets there. 390 feet to the power alley in right center in this ballpark.
Well, he hit that ball very well, and like you say, this is a big ballpark. That's the 390-foot gap. In a lot of ballparks, that's a home run.
Turner Field, Atlanta, 83 degrees. The humidity, 35%. Beautiful evening. So the humidity's not that kind of stifling humidity that we would expect during the summertime. Of course, it's not summer yet.
No, it's not.
Wednesday. Here is Mark Loretta, 297 average. And that is a foul off to the right into the second deck.
Pretty good fastball there from Smoltz, 97. He started the game with 96. That was 97. And Loretta's a very good fastball hitter, but watch this. As we see it on K-Zone, he just really late on that fastball.
1 strike to count. Another fastball. That was right down the middle, but
yeah, had a little movement on it, John. Late movement. Wasn't quite as fast as the pitch before, but it had a little late movement.
and Loretta timed that one a lot better.
There is David Ortiz, big poppy on deck. The outfield short shaded toward the right field side against Loretta. And he struck him out, a foul tip. Held by McCann, and he just stayed with gas all the way through and blew him away.
Fastball away, and again there's a little late movement. I think this ball moves away just a little bit. Now, look at the tar, look at the glove. See how he reaches out a little bit? That means that ball started over the outside corner and moved away. So there is some late movement on his fastball, and Loretta wasn't able to handle it.
Now David Ortiz. And the shift is on for Atlanta. Nobody at third base for Ortiz. That ball is hit high in the air, deep into center. Andrew at the wall. Goodbye. On the first pitch, David Ortiz over the center field wall. 1-0 Red Sox.
John, there's been a lot of discussions about Ortiz because his batting average is down a little bit. But guess what? He's still driving in runs. That's his 60th RBI of the season. And a batting average, as I've said 100 times, is just a personal thing. You're supposed to drive in runs if you're a third and fourth place hitter, and you're supposed to score runs. And David Ortiz is doing both.
So the Red Sox jump ahead. Ortiz behind only Jim Thome and Troy Gloss in the league for home run hitting at the start of the day. Jermaine Dye, the White Sox, also hit number 20 today. But nobody is ahead of Ortiz in RBIs. He began today already leading the American League in that category. Now Manny Ramirez, and he has been struggling big time. And back to the screen is Smoltz staying with the hard stuff right here.
Let's take a look at the pitch. It was a fastball to David Ortiz, and it looked like it was down. The target is down, and it is down, and David Ortiz likes the ball down, and he hammered that fastball.
That is over the outside of 97 for a called strike, 0-2.
Anytime I see Manny Ramirez struggling, John, as he is now, I always feel there has to be something wrong with him physically, because he keeps his balance well in the batter's box, and I'm just not accustomed to seeing him struggle as he's doing now.
0 for his last 17. And there's that hard slider, Joe. Look at that, 91 miles an hour.
See, I think that is still the key pitch for him to be very, very successful in this ballgame. Because that pitch is so hard, you can't wait to see it break. And he'll get a lot of people chasing that pitch when he's ahead with 2 strikes.
1-2, going inside. And fouled off the foot of Manny Ramirez with that fastball. Still 1-2. Manny had to opt out of the game yesterday as his right knee was giving him some trouble, so he did not play. He was supposed to play, and David Ortiz was going to have the day off, and once Manny had to be scratched from the lineup, then Terry Francona said, well, we can't have both of them missing from the lineup. And Ortiz ended up being the big hitter in the game yesterday for Boston. There's that hard slider down and away.
But as I said, that makes perfect sense, because I just know that there has to be something physically wrong with Manning when he's not hitting. Because he is such a great hitter, stays on balance, sees the ball well, and doesn't try to pull the ball too often. He just goes with the pitch.
2 down, nobody on, a run in. Trot Nixon would be next. And he swung and missed at that slider. But a run on the David Ortiz big fly. Now Kurt Schilling will take the mound. The Braves are coming up. first place for a long, long time, but they start the night in last place, and they come to bat trailing in this game 1-0. Here's the Braves batting order, presented by Taco Bell. It'll be Marcus Giles leading it off at second base, and he's struggled this year. Edgar Renteria, the former Red Sox, and he's having an outstanding season. Scott Thorman, major league debut, just up from AAA in left field. Andrew Jones, 51 homers last year, 16 so far this year. Brian McCann, the catcher, hitting .352. Jeff Francoeur got 48 runs batted in. Adam LaRoche, the son of a former big leaguer, .243 average. Wilson Betemit at third base in place of the injured Chipper Jones. And John Smoltz, the pitcher, bats ninth up against Curt Schilling. Schilling is 9-2. Looking for that 10th win already.
Well, he has been pitching great, and look at the earned run average, 3.59. It started at 523 after his first 4 starts, but he has pitched great. And the big thing is he throws strikes. He's always ahead of the hitters. And I think that has been the key to his success lately. As I mentioned, he has walked only 3 hitters in his last 8 starts.
1 strike to count to Marcus Giles. And that fastball a little bit low at 95 miles an hour. Now, today at Shea Stadium, Tom Glavine got his 10th win of the year. He's 10-2 for the Mets. He beat Baltimore. And Kenny Rogers got his 10th win at Wrigley Field for the Detroit Tigers. Too high with a fastball. 2-1. 2 older fathers there, huh? Yeah. So Schilling is attempting to become the third 10-game. How about that? He's sort of like the kid. Yeah. Among the guys shooting for 10 wins, right? He's 39 years old. Rogers 41. Glavine is 40. Into left field and just in front of Manny Ramirez. Base hit. That would have some severe topspin to it. Kenny Rogers at age 41. 10-3. Tom Glavine at age 40, 10-2, and Curt Schilling at age 39, 9-2. And today, Kenny Rogers got his 200th career victory. So, congratulations to him. Curt Schilling now to face Edgar Renteria, his teammate last year. Renteria has celebrated his return to the National League. In the midst of the Braves' miseries, Renteria has done extremely well. Renteria with an average of .318. I mean, Renteria's having the kind of year you always expect from Renteria right now.
But last year, you just didn't expect him to play that poorly in Boston. Good pitch in on the hands.
Ramirez, and that is out number 1.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for Curt Schilling, and very few power pitchers ever have the control that Curt Schilling has. He's mixing his sinkers up well, he's changing speed, and he always has the splitter.
And he's facing Scott Thorman, 24 years old, making his major league debut right now from Cambridge, Ontario, and a foul. Thorman, Bobby Cox told me the story, his father died when he was about 40 years old, and Scott Thorman was just still a young kid. And there's a bit of irony. He makes his major league debut tonight on Father's Day. So I'm sure thoughts of his dad in mind right now. And the first guy he ever faces in the big league is one of the best and toughest to hit, Curt Schilling. A little over-anxious there, John. I imagine that adrenaline is pumping
right, because a lot of times young guys, when they first come up, they're a little tentative. He went after the first fastball he saw, and he chased the second one.
All right, so is the next one going to be even a little bit higher, or just as high?
He hasn't seen a splitter yet, so Curt may want to show him something different.
He hit .324 at Richmond this year, had 15 homers and 44 batted in.
You're right.
He went back up there again, strike 3. Curt Schilling with his first strikeout of the night. Peter Gavin's Curt Schilling. He's still piling up the wins and the strikeouts.
Well, John, one of the things, I talked to Kurt for a while yesterday, and he said he still has a long way to go. He thinks a month from now, he'll be a lot better than he is now. I mean, he's constantly reinventing himself. He's trying to use both sides of the plate, which he never did in the National League, and getting better at. He brought out his sinker, which he hadn't thrown in 13 years, 2 starts ago, and that's been effective for him. But he said to me, I'm still making a lot of mistakes in the strike zone. A month from now, I won't make those mistakes, and I'll have a lot more velocity.
Well, I did a game in New York a couple of weeks ago, and Kurt won the ball game. He only gave up 4 hits, but he gave up 3 solo home runs, and that was the problem. He was missing badly sometimes in the strike zone, and they were hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
1 ball and no strikes to Andrew Jones, a 50 home run man last year, and that breaking ball is a strike on the outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Andrew. One of those guys, if you make a mistake to Andrew, he can hurt you badly. Well, I like Peter's story. He brought out the sinker he hadn't used it, like it's sitting on a shelf somewhere. Let's see, where did I put that?
He just woke up one day, maybe stumbled over it when he got out of bed and found it. You're right.
Rummaging through an old box. Oh, there's my sinker. Right there with those old golf shoes. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones made his very first Major League appearance against Curt Schilling. As you see, his stance is really spread out to the front of the batter's box.
Well, exactly, and I think the one thing that happens if you can stand in the forward part of the batter's box, your bat will always be in fair territory when you hit the ball. That'll keep you from hooking a lot of balls foul, that go out of the ballpark or down the line. But you have to be quick up there. You have to be able to handle a fastball because obviously it gets there about 3 or 4 inches sooner than it would if you're back.
Wow. Again, the high hard one up out of the strike zone, and Andrew chased as well. A leadoff single by Giles. He never got past first. 1-0 Boston. Nixon coming up. John Smoltz back on the hill here on Father's Day. Trot Nixon the hitter, and the fastball a little bit low for ball 1. Trot Nixon been hot lately and has raised his average to the year, or for the year, to .317. 6 homers, 36 batted in. Red Sox are not hitting as many home runs as you might think, and the ones they're hitting are mostly on the road. I mean, Fenway seems to have been hurting their home run production. They've only hit 25 home runs at home. They've hit 53 in 38 road games, 25 in 28 home games, less than 1 a game at home. And that is a slider, too high. 3-0 to Truck Nixon with Jason Varitek and Coco Crisp to follow. John Smoltz, his dad, also John Smoltz, who was a musician, later owned a couple of music stores. And John said he never missed one of his games. And John grew up a Tigers fan. His dad once played accordion at the Tigers victory party when they won the '68 World Series. And there's ball 4 down and in. His grandfather was a groundskeeper at Tiger Stadium at one time. Nixon goes to first. Now we're going to go to the studio to John Butchergrass for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. Jason Varitek takes a called strike, the first strike of the inning thrown by Smoltz. 1-0. The Red Sox lead the Braves as we start the second. Nixon at first. Varitek, who had the 3-run double here yesterday, that was a big hit. And a changeup from Smoltz. 0-2 the count. Major League Baseball and Gillette are proud sponsors of the Prostate Cancer Foundation. Log on to prostatecancerfoundation.com for more information on how you can help. And today, all around baseball, certain home runs will add to the amount of money being raised for that purpose as Renteria goes back and makes the catch. So Varitek pops out to short. 1 away. Nixon holding it first. The batter will be Coco Crisp. And Joe, I was talking about, as you see, they've got the bases with the Father's Day special logo, as baseball is raising money for the fight against prostate cancer, the leading cause of cancer deaths in men. It strikes 1 out of every 6 American men. And we're hoping to have a visit from Ozzie Smith to talk about the baseball's efforts in that regard. The wristbands are also a part of the day. The ribbons. There's a ribbon tattoo. There's ball 1 up and away to Coco Crisp. Anyway, John Smoltz grew up a Tigers fan, grew up in Michigan, and originally signed with the Tigers. And it's particularly interesting right now because John Smoltz is a guy that if the Braves, if they don't get a lot better, then he himself says, you know, I could end up being traded to bring in some youth and some prospects for the future here. So that is how he ended up with the Braves in the first place. The Braves, who were going through some very lean times, and they acquired John Smoltz when the Tigers, in the midst of a hard-fought pennant race, traded for Doyle Alexander, and he in fact helped them win a division title.
I would hope so. He went 9-0 down the stretch, so it was a great move for everybody.
He went,
obviously, long term it's been maybe better for the Braves, but short term they were trying to win the pennant and they won it.
That year it worked. Now the last 18 years it's worked out pretty well for the Braves. Doyle Alexander, I don't think they would have won that division. They finished 2 games ahead of the Blue Jays.
Right.
The whole thing was not really settled till the final weekend. Tigers and the Jays head to head.
And if a guy goes 9-0, I think he can claim that he helped you win it if you only win by 2 games. Because he didn't have any losses. 1 point something earned run average. Doyle Alexander was great.
Coco Crisp. Wow. John Smoltz. He got a lot of weapons out there. That's his 3rd strikeout.
Well, the one thing that John Smoltz does very well against left-handers, he uses the splitter. He'll use the slider more against right-handed hitters. And you can see the bottom falls out of that splitter. And Coco Crisp swings over the top of it.
Now, that's a splitter that came in there at 90 miles an hour. Now, that's a split-finger fastball.
Yeah, all of his pitches are power pitches tonight so far, except the one changeup.
Alex Gonzalez, and that will go back out of play. Gonzalez, the former Florida Marlins shortstop, hitting .249. 3 homers, 19 batted in. But no less an authority than J.T. Snow, who's now a Red Sox and who's won several Gold Gloves as a first baseman, told me before the game, Joe, he said, this guy has played a better shortstop than anybody I've ever seen. And J.T. knows a little bit about
the glove,
Gold Glove capabilities. He's only made one error so far this year, which is amazing for a shortstop. He's had 48 consecutive games without an error, which has tied the all-time Red Sox record set by Rico Petrocelli over a 2-year period. Now the count is 0-2 to Alex Gonzalez. Gonzalez has also been hitting better lately. As we told you, his batting average is only .249, but he's hit .344 the last 17 games. And he, being a former National Leaguer, has seen Smoltz a lot, which has not been good news for him. Only 3 hits in 22 at-bats against Smoltz in his career. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I don't think there's anyone that's like to see John Smoltz, maybe with the exception of Barry Bonds. He handled him pretty well, but John Smoltz has been devastating on most National League hitters.
Big Papi's done pretty well against him.
Well, yeah.
So, you know, this is only the 3rd time that David Ortiz has ever batted against Smoltz in a big league game. And he's 2 for 3 now. I mean, the first pitch he saw tonight, he hit over the center field wall as if to say, well, what's the big fuss about this guy? Ortiz and Ramirez, the 2 great sluggers of the Red Sox, side by side in the dugout. 1-2 the count. That's slider. And there is Renteria, who's going to have to hurry. Too late.
What happens sometimes, John, with 2 outs is I feel like some of the shortstops in Major League Baseball get too deep. So if a ball is hit slowly like that, they've got such a long way to come. If the guy can run, you're not going to be able to get him. See how deep he is out here? He's on the edge of the outfield grass. You just can't come in and throw out a speedy base runner when you're that deep. It wasn't even a close play. I mean, he's starting from out on the outfield grass. You can't get to the ball quick enough to throw out the runners.
Now, Kurt Schilling comes up.
So I've always felt with 2 outs, I think you need to take a step in to avoid something like that happening.
Now, is Schilling running? You can play as deep as you like.
Yeah, well, that's true. But when you have a guy that runs well, I think you have to take a step in with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Fastball to strike on the outside. It's 0-2. Schilling could help himself a little bit here. This is his first plate appearance this season. Schilling is a former National League pitcher with the Astros, the Phillies, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. So he's batted, but even then he was not a very good hitter. Slider swung on and missed. He struck him out. 2 men left. We go to the last of the 2nd inning. McCann and then Jeff Francoeur coming up. 1-0 Red Sox. Field, Atlanta. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Beautiful night for a ball game. Father's Day 2006. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, Peter Gammons. Now the Lowe's home team advantage. And the Braves, and they might dispute this home team advantage because it seems like so many of the fans who've been here this weekend have been Red Sox fans. 51,000, the sixth largest crowd in Turner Field history Friday. More than 49,000 yesterday. And looks like we got another capacity crowd somewhere around 50,000 tonight. Far above the Braves' season's average attendance. Here is Brian McCann. He's an Atlanta area native. One of several young players that came up out of the minors last year and helped the Braves win their 14th consecutive division title. Brian McCann. And he is hitting .352. Down the right field line, hooking and foul. That had the distance, but not the accuracy. 0-2. McCann, second round draft choice in 2002. That's the same year that they drafted Jeff Francoeur in the first round, another local product. 0-2 the count. And there's Schilling pumping that high hard one again, Joe.
But I think that's an old-fashioned ploy there by starting pitchers. If they get 2 strikes on you, they try to go up and out of the strike. Now you see the target is up, but he doesn't get it up. Maybe if he would have gotten it up as high as Veritek wanted, he would have got another swing through.
Francoeur on deck. 1-0 Boston. And a very protective looking. That was sort of the quintessential 2-strike cut right there.
John, it used to be when the pitchers got 2 strikes and they were power pitchers, they would go upstairs. They got to get you to swing. But what has happened in the last few years, they've made more mistakes in the trying to go upstairs because they've concentrated so hard on getting the ball down that you've seen a lot of home runs being hit on pitches that are supposed to be up and out of the strike zone.
The splitter grounded into right field, a base hit. And that's a splitter I think he'd like to have seen maybe drop in the dirt.
Yeah.
With an 0-2 count.
Well, what happens is, left-handed hitters, we all talk about, they're better low ball hitters. And this is a low ball. Watch where the pitch is. The splitter down. He's able to get the good wood on it, and he grounds it through the right side.
Now Jeff Francoeur comes up, and Francoeur, in his first full year in the big leagues, hitting .243, 14 homers, 48 runs batted in. He is second in the club in RBIs. Got off to a woefully bad start, but is breaking out of that. But is still a guy who almost never walks, Peter.
Well, 5 walks, 56 strikeouts, a .261 on base. It's pretty tough to hit consistently. But, I had talked to him about it. He said, the problem is I can't sit there and think about taking pitches. I have to think about hitting them. It's my nature to swing. It's just I have to learn in the big leagues, and it's a little bit more difficult than learning in AA and AAA.
Yeah, Curt Schilling is testament to that. There's a foul ball past third, and the count is 0-2 now to Francoeur.
Well, Peter, I believe that taking pitches is more instinctive than it is something that you can really learn. For instance, Kevin Youkilis, he came to the big leagues. He already had that instinctiveness of taking pitches. You can learn to be more patient in the big leagues, but I don't think you'll ever turn into one of those guys like a Kevin Youkilis or somebody who is instinctively goes to the batter's box and takes pitches.
Well, Curt Schilling again using that aggressiveness against him, just as he did with the rookie Thorman and with Andrew Jones in the first inning.
Well, the thing about Curt Schilling, he's going to take advantage of it. That's what I said in the beginning of the game. He's going to be ahead of you, and he's going to make you swing at pitches. Although he gave him 2 strikes, he didn't hit either one, then he goes up and out of the strike zone. So Francoeur usually puts the ball in play, but as Peter said, he strikes out a lot as well.
Now here is Adam LaRoche. And on this Father's Day, Adam LaRoche is one of 29 current Major League players whose fathers also played in the big leagues. Adam LaRoche, dad, Dave LaRoche, a longtime Major League relief pitcher. Adam, a slick fielding first baseman, hitting only .243, though. Takes outside. He's dangerous, though. He got 11 home runs. His dad, Dave LaRoche, a big leaguer for 14 years for the Angels, the Twins. Also pitched in Chicago and for Cleveland, and finished up with the Yankees, where he broke out the LaRoche Lalab. 2-0, and that's a called strike. And I asked him if he ever saw his dad throw that pitch. He says only on tape. You know, by the time his dad retired, he was only 5 or 6 years old. He doesn't remember seeing him play. But he said his dad threw the Lalab to him, you know, when he was throwing some batting practice to him on occasion. There's Adams Army up there, way up there.
Yeah, I don't think they want him to hit one there. They're just showing support.
Well, they're showing support. Maybe they don't expect him, but they would like him to.
Yeah.
I think.
You know what? I'd like to see him do that, too, because that would be the longest home run in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah. That would be the new Lalab.
Yeah, look at that.
It would be the LaRoche La Mortar. That would. You'd need some help to launch one that far. That is a called strike. A splitter from Curt Schilling. 2 balls, 2 strikes to LaRoche with McCann at first base.
And you can see how Curt Schilling keeps the hitters off balance. He threw a 2-0 fastball down and away. So LaRoche was looking for another fastball, and he throws him a splitter, and he's out in front of it, and he swings at it, then couldn't check his swing.
All right, so what do you think? Shoulder high fastball again?
No, I don't think so. Only when he's ahead. Well, he was going inside, but if it's 0-2 or 1-2, I think he'll waste a pitch up there. But 2-2, he was trying to get this at bat over with.
3-2. What about McCann at first? He's a catcher. And you got a strikeout pitcher on the mound, sort of a high risk to run him here.
Well, it is, but if you're the Braves and, you know, you've been struggling, anything can happen. So you might.
Well, he's not running, and it's a walk for LaRoche.
And again, that's the 4th walk in his last 8 starts for Curt Schilling. Just not something that you're accustomed to doing, writing BB when Curt Schilling is on the mound.
Well, this is Dave LaRoche, a Gillette fusion father-son moment. And this is facing Gorman Thomas, and there's the LaRoche Lalab, and Thomas, who had struck out against that same pitch before, got a base hit, and they gave him a little grief about it afterward. And Adam LaRoche now in the big leagues, and back to live action. Wilson Betemeet playing tonight in place of the injured Chipper Jones, fouls one off the left field line.
That was Stormin Gorman.
Stormin Gorman Thomas.
Yeah.
And he did 40, 45 home runs a season.
True big fly man.
And he'd strike out 150 times. And that's
the nature of that beast.
He was a home run hitter and very dangerous. Just inside. And Schilling wanted that call. 1 ball, 1 strike to Betemeet. Betemeet also out of the Atlanta farm system, a switch hitter, batting left-handed. There is McCann at second. LaRoche at first. This is a spot where lately the Braves have not done well. They get those runners in scoring position, and they've been lacking that hit, that clutch hit to knock in a run. There's the splitter. 1-2. And when a team is slumping, Joe, I mean, sometimes you see that. Guys press a little bit, try to come through in the clutch, and sometimes try a little too hard.
Well, hitting is contagious. If you swing the bat well, everybody else seems to fall in the line. But when the team starts to struggle, everyone tries to pick the other hitter up, and it's just not possible to do in this game.
Another splitter, and Varitek keeps the ball near home plate. The runners hold. They don't have a whole lot of speed out there with the catcher McCann in second.
In baseball, you just have to do your job and work within the framework of the team. In some other sports, you may be able to take over and dominate, but you can't do that in baseball.
2-2.
We saw Andrew Jones way up in the box. Betemeet is way in the back and even out of the batter's box.
Broken bat and a foul. I mean, that bat foot was completely out of the batter's box. I mean, technically, if he hits a fair ball standing there, he could be called out.
Yeah, but John, here's the theory. If you stand deep in the box, you see him hitting foul balls like that because your bat is in foul territory when you make contact here. It's already in foul territory because you're already around. Now, if he's up in front, as we saw with Andrew Jones, when you swing, your bat is always in fair territory. See where his bat is? That's in foul territory by the time he gets to the ball already. That's watch, foul. And when you stand that deep in the batter's box, you have to be a little more patient and wait a little longer.
And he lifted that back foot as he made contact, so actually he wasn't really out of the batter's box at the moment of contact. Fly ball to left. Manny Ramirez did not have to go far for that one. So 2 men are gone. That was a big at-bat there because now the pitcher's coming up.
But Smoltz is not your average pitcher as far as hitting. He will try to put the ball in play. He doesn't try to do too much. A good bunter, he can sacrifice when it's called for, but because John Smoltz is a very good athlete.
Only 3 hits in 27 at-bats so far this year. Coming into this season, he was hitting 170. He's got 5 big league home runs and 2 RBIs this year. He's had 2 doubles.
One thing I remember when Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, all those guys were here, they could execute. They could bunt. They could move the runners along. They could do a good job in the batter's box.
Fastball off the outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Curt Schilling has thrown 21 pitches in this inning. McCann led off the inning with a single. With 1 out, LaRoche walked. 1 ball, no strikes to Smoltz, and now ball 2. There are those 3 pitches you're talking about, Joe. The big 3.
Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox.
And there were times that they added a 4th, Steve Avery. And one of those guys, Denny Nagel, here for a while. Kevin Millwood. That is strike 1 on the outside. 2-1. Fastball from Schilling. McCann at second, LaRoche at first. Both ready to go in anything here with 2 down. John Smoltz trying to help his own cause. He's trailing 1-0. David Ortiz, first inning homer, the only run of the game. Fastball. Now he got a little extra on that one, Joe.
Yeah, he just reached back, said, I'm going to let this one go. Fastball pretty much in the middle of the plate, but John's a little tardy on it.
96.
See John Smoltz late on the fastball right in the middle of the plate.
2-2. Right there, strike 3 call. So each pitcher strikes out the other to end the inning with 2 men on here in the second. David Ortiz will be coming up third. The Red Sox 1-0.
Brought to you by Volvo's 2006 Model Year End Sales Event. Volvo for life.
Sunday Night Baseball from Atlanta. John Miller, Joe Morgan, Peter Gammons with you. Our 17th season of ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Happy Father's Day. There's a happy dad with the fam. A lot of families enjoying the ball game with Dad tonight at Turner Field, Atlanta. And not all Braves fans either. Sometimes it sounds like not even maybe half of them Braves fans. I mean, the Red Sox contingent, there's a huge number of Red Sox fans here, and they are loud. Kevin Youkilis, the leadoff man, flied out deep to right center his first time, and a foul back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Youkilis, Loretta, and then David Ortiz. Ortiz, who hit his 20th home run in the first inning for the game's only run. Every team behind Boston, and they were actually tied for the division lead at the start of the day. The Yankees lost, and every other team lost in the division. So Boston has one of those rare chances. With a win, they gain ground on every single team in their division.
Well, one of the reasons, they've been one team they've been looking at is Toronto. They've been closing quickly. Now they've hit a roadblock.
Well, Toronto ran into the Florida Marlins this weekend, as did the Braves earlier in the week. The Marlins, they're unbeatable these days. Florida Marlins swept the Blue Jays over the weekend, and the Marlins have won 8 in a row. Fastball is foul off the right field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Youkilis. David Ortiz in the first inning. First pitch he saw. And a home run at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Smoltz. So Big Papi wasn't hanging around saying, well, let me see what kind of movement he's got. Let me just see what kind of speed he's got. He saw it, he read it, and he exploded. First one. 3rd most homers in the big leagues since the beginning of 2004. Slider, strike 3 call.
And that was a beautiful pitch there from Smoltz. Again, I'll tell you, I think that's the key pitch for him is the slider, not just tonight, but most of the time, but especially tonight against these Red Sox hitters. Because they haven't seen a slider like John Smoltz as much in the American League. I mean, this is a great slider. See the little hole in it? You can see that little dot. That tells you it's a slider and it's spinning.
Now Mark Loretta, slider, called a ball. Loretta struck out his first time. Loretta, another former National Leaguer who has seen Smoltz in the past. 3 for 11 lifetime against him now. David Ortiz out on deck. High and tight. 2-0. The Red Sox have been playing well overall, except they haven't been hitting all that well. Nonetheless, they've been winning. And they were without 2 of their 5 starters. Both Matt Clement and David Wells are on the disabled list now. Clement just placed in the DL this week. Back out of play. 2 balls and a strike now to Loretta. And with a win, they'll be a full game ahead of the Yankees, who will be in Philadelphia tomorrow night. Monday Night Baseball presented by TD Ameritrade, part of the American League National League Interleague Showdown presented by State Farm. That slider taken by Loretta. 3-1. 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN tomorrow night, and also ESPN HD, and that'll feature Randy Johnson, one of the veteran pitchers. He's 8-5 this year, but it has not been an overall very good year for Randy. 3-1 the count. Fastball, base hit. So now Ortiz with a man aboard.
John, we're going to take a quick look at David Ortiz's swing. And I think you'll see one of the reasons he's so successful. Now, watch his balance. He has a wide base. Watch his hips. They open very quickly. That allows the transition of his upper body to go through smoothly to his front side. I mean, look at that. That's beautiful right there. I mean, his hips open, clear the way, and that allows him to swing smoothly. A lot of guys, their hips lock, and there's not a smooth transition from their backswing to throw the barrel of the bat through the hitting zone.
And this time a slider, not that first pitch fastball that Ortiz hit over the center field fence in the first. And right in the middle of the swing, the whole thing just disintegrated as he realized that there was That was not a good one to swing at.
And that's why you can see with his slider that the Red Sox are not having any success with it.
One strike.
Slider.
And they could get two here. Giles the second. And that is Badermate back to first. Double play. That's the second baseman to the third baseman to first base because of the shift. Manny Ramirez stranded on deck. Top of the order coming up for Atlanta. It's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. We're in Atlanta. The Boston Red Sox trying to sweep the Atlanta Braves. The Braves trying to just beat somebody right now. They've lost 6 in a row, 16 of 19. We got the great matchup. Kurt Schilling throws a fastball foul down the right field line by Marcus Giles. Schilling for the Red Sox and Smoltz for the Braves. And since we've got a couple of great pitchers going, one at the other, we got my Hall of Fame partner, Joe Morgan, here. The Hall of Fame baseball reporter, Peter Gammons, is here, part of the crew. So we've added another Hall of Famer here in the last of the third. Ozzie Smith. Ozzie, the Wizard, welcome.
Thank you, guys.
How you doing, man?
All right, how you guys doing?
Oh, hanging in there, you know.
It's got the life here, man. Where's the food?
Yeah.
No food here?
Yeah, sorry, Oz. We don't sit up here chowing down. We're working.
Oh, yeah,
we're working hard.
Yeah. Okay.
We're working hard or hardly working, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah. We're not working. We're at the ball game.
Yeah, we're at the ball game, having a good time.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stadium.
This is a beautiful stadium, isn't it?
Now, we know you love baseball, Ozzie, but what specifically brings you to town? Because I know it's Father's Day. Baseball got some initiatives.
Exactly.
They're working on during this
Father's
Day.
One very important initiative, and all of us, I think, have reached the age to where we have to be more aware of getting tested for prostate cancer. And I am...
and that's a base hit for Marcus Giles, his second hit.
And I'm here to help bring about the awareness of prostate cancer and get guys to talking about it a little bit more. We as men sometimes don't spend enough time talking about it and reminding our friends and our family members to get their PSA and blood test. And for most of us, you know, it's a very easy process. You get your blood test, and early detection could save your life.
All right, so 1 out of every 6 men has a brush with prostate cancer.
That's right, exactly. And that's why in the 6th inning today around Major League Baseball, the guy that's hitting in the 6th spot, his first time up today, Gillette would donate $10,000 for every home run hit.
for the sixth hitter.
For the sixth
in
hitter.
all of Major League Baseball today. Yeah, great.
And I don't know what the number is, whether how much we've made to this point, but that's the emphasis of the six-inning stretch and the 1 out of 6.
So tonight, in addition to the 7-inning stretch, we're also going to have a 6th-inning stretch.
Exactly, to just to remind people, and it's really to make guys and more aware, families more aware.
There goes Giles. And Gonzalez, what a play! He was breaking to cover the bag, slipped and fell, and Ozzie reached back while he was sitting and backhanded that ball and threw out the runner.
Athleticism.
Did you teach him that?
No, that's great athleticism. Watching. Actually, I guess he was covering the bag on the.
Yeah, he was.
To look at it.
Here it is. Does a great job of sliding there. Good recovery.
And
good
throws
strong
from
arm.
his knees, man. I don't know. I didn't see you throw from your knees, though. I saw you get up. You jump up right here and throw. I didn't see you throw from your knees now.
Yeah, it was.
Or did I miss some of those?
You missed some of those.
Okay, I missed some. All right.
When you're playing out there in the middle, Joe, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Get rid of it.
There's strike one to rookie Scott Thorman in his Major League debut tonight. Well, Ozzie, we remember you making some pretty good plays, and sometimes it was a great show to you even before the game ever started.
Well,
that was a pretty good one.
Ouch, that hurt.
And you're going to hit a little bit.
Yeah,
Tell them
moments sometimes. You never know when they're gonna jump up, and that was one of those moments.
And Thorman right to the second baseman Loretta, and Giles moves over to third base. 2 down, and now Andrew Jones is coming up. So Ozzie, there's been a lot of money being raised in the specified games the last 11 days, and that culminates today when guys hit home runs in these different ball games.
Different
a lot
ball
of money
games.
has been raised.
Right. Not only that, for guys and African American men, 60% of African American men will have to deal with prostate cancer, and 20 to 30% of those guys will die from the disease. And so it's very, very important. I think baseball and Gillette have done a great job of spearheading this attack and making people more aware of how important it is to get tested, because early detection can save your life.
Well, I think that's the key for all of us to remain healthy, is to try to get checkups, get tested, and just to make sure we're okay.
Yeah, I think there's so many of us, Joe, in this business, too, that it is touched personally.
Right.
I have a very good friend of mine that I play a lot of golf with that just came up with it last week, so he's going to be okay because it was detected early. And I try, the guys that I spend a lot of time around, I try and make sure that they get their test and get screened.
All right, so at least once a year.
At least once a year. And they say the age of 50, but I started getting tested or screened when I was 48. So it's never too early.
That splitter swung out a miss by Andrew Jones. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Andrew, trying to get that runner home from third with Schilling and the Red Sox leading 1-0. Ozzie Smith has been here with us as Major League Baseball has teamed up with Gillette, the Prostate Cancer Foundation, for the special 6th-inning stretch.
One of the other
all through baseball, not just here in Atlanta tonight, but all through baseball today.
Throughout baseball. And one of the other great things that they're doing.
That one is through the hole, base hit. Andrew Jones that time seemed to be looking for that high fastball, Joe. That was up around his eyes, and he chopped it right through the hole to bring home Giles, and this game is tied up.
Well, it's very difficult, as we've seen tonight, to get on top of Kurt Schilling's fastball, but Andrew Jones does just that and pulls it in the hole, and he ties the ball game. Now watch, you see the target by Jason Varitek. It's up, but it's away. He wanted it up and in. That one's up, and that's what I was telling you earlier. You make mistakes up there, and guys are going to put the ball in play, but you can strike out a lot of hitters if you go about neck high, but you can see he stays on top of it and pulls it in the hole for a base hit.
Well, just as he hit it, I remember you saying that. Here's Brian McCann now. McCann singled his first time. But, Ozzie, we really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you very much.
One more point,
One more point. They have these screening vans that are at different ballparks. You can go on to GillettePCC.org to find out if the van is in your area, and you can get screened right at the ballpark.
Great. Get screened, go in, enjoy the ball game.
Enjoy the ball game.
All right. Well, Ozzie, we certainly enjoyed watching you at the ball game for years and years and years. That's down the right field line. Cut off by Trot Nixon. And Andrew Jones to third. He'll have to hold there. It's a long single for Brian McCann. And that big play by Alex Gonzalez on the hit and run, where he had slipped and fallen over it, but still made the play. That is very large right now.
Well, this is a low pitch. We keep talking about the low fastball, the low pitches to left-handed hitters. And this is another low pitch. He got a base hit on a low splitter. This is a low fastball, and he lines it down the right field line. Left-handed hitters have a way of handling that low pitch, Oz.
Yep, you always look for that. You like that pitch in there too, didn't you, Jeff?
I like it. Anything down.
Anything down in the strike zone.
Yeah.
And there's a splitter, Chulo to Francoeur. He struck out on 3 pitches his first time.
In fact, the home run we showed earlier.
Right.
Down and in, and you just...
You dropped the head. You just dropped the head of the bat.
Right on it.
Well, here's the young budding superstar, still a raw talent, but he does have 48 RBIs for the Braves this year. Another splitter, and he takes that one. So Schilling trying to get him to go out of the zone, which is his reputation, but Francoeur has refused to go out. Now it's 2-0.
That may be the first time I've ever seen him take 2 pitches, John, in a row. I'm serious, Oz. I mean, he only walked like once in his first 100+ at bats or something.
And when he changed that splitter,
he can't just let it go.
That's right.
It's almost as if Schilling just said, well, I've gone this far, I better just keep going with it. I think he's going to swing it one. All right, it's 2-1 now.
I think Schilling knows his reputation.
Francoeur, who has struck out 57 times and has walked 5 times, but 48 RBIs. First full season in the big leagues. That one, left center field. That's a base hit. Francoeur comes through in the clutch. The throw back to second base by Manny, and diving back is McCann. Andrew Jones has scored, and the Braves have taken a 2-1 lead.
And that was not a bad pitch. It was down and away, but Francoeur just went out, got it, and lined it into left center field. And Kurt's probably saying I should have thrown another ball. Yeah. Now watch this. It's down and away. I mean, that's a good pitch. But Francoeur goes out, gets it, and lines it in the left center field. I think the key there is he didn't try to pull it. He just went out and hit it back over the shortstop's head. And he's telling David Ortiz, I can hit the low pitch too. Yeah.
So, Ozzie, before we say so long, we can mention that fans can log on to MLB.com for more information on the program and to make a monetary pledge at ProstateCancerFoundation.org for each home run hit. This is going to be the final game.
Yeah, this is culminating tonight. But it started on the 7th through the 18th, so it culminates tonight. And
the fans can still get in.
They can still get in, make a pledge tonight.
ProstateCancerFoundation.org. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard.
Thank you, John. Always a pleasure.
And
Joe, good to see you.
Lots of excitement here in the inning, and that one took a bad hop, but came right up to David Ortiz, and Adam LaRoche is retired. 2 runs for the Braves. They've gone ahead. Manny Ramirez will be coming up against Smoltz. Ozzie Smith, many thanks. We'll be right back. 15, Henry Aaron, who hit number 715 to be the first home run hitter ever to move past the Babe back in 1974, just outside Turner Field at the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. And that's the arcade outside the center field area here at Turner Field. There's a lot of things at this ballpark for fans to stay amused. Here is Manny Ramirez, who struck out his first time, taking ball one from John Smoltz. And Manny now 0 for his last 18, Joe. The only time he's ever had a slump, and we're talking about a hitless streak this long, was 8 years ago. Slider misses. 2-0. Manny went 0 for 21 in September of 1998, and that is still the longest hitless streak that he's ever had as a big leaguer.
Well, I don't think that you expect Manny Ramirez to ever go 0 for 21, because he puts the ball in play and he hits the ball hard. He can drive it through the infield.
That one is hammered high and deep, and you can forget about it. Way back there. Gone, a home run. And this game is tied up. Manny Ramirez breaks out of an 0 for 18 in style. A tape measure home run. Wow.
Sometimes power against power doesn't work in the pitcher's advantage, because he was a 2-0 pitch. He was sitting dead red. He got the fastball. It looked like it was down a little bit toward the inner half, and he just drilled it into center field. So he's no longer over. See, the target's away. See, that pitch is not away. He gets it pretty much middle in and down. And watch this. Boom. I mean, that's a Manny Ramirez at his best.
Now, Trot Nixon along the left field line. Can anybody get to this one? And Bateman looked like he was kind of hobbled going after that one. Manny Ramirez, man, that home run, that was a soaring, majestic blast.
And it was no doubter. I mean, look at Andrew Jones. He just kind of turns and looks. He takes a step, but then he realizes, even if he does stay in the park, it's hit so hard, I can't catch it.
That's way up in those bleachers out there in center field.
When you see a guy, Manny especially, hit a ball like that, you say, well, how could he go for 21? Because he hits the ball so hard, he can drive it through the infield.
Nixon takes strike two.
He doesn't have to hit a home run, but, you know, that's the easiest way to get out of a 0 for slump. No one can catch it.
So David Ortiz hit one in the first. Manny Ramirez has hit one here in the fourth. And the Red Sox fans here at Turner Field are alive again. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Nixon, who walked his first time.
And that's part of the problem, John. You know, you're John Smoltz, David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. You're a power pitcher. You want to accept the challenge.
That's a foul off the left field line.
So you go after him. And he went after him 2-0, 2 balls, no strikes. Some other pitcher may not have given Manny that fastball inside, or tried to, get him to chase one. And same with Ortiz. They may not have thrown him that fastball first. But if you're John Smoltz and you trust your stuff, you say, I'm just going to go after him. I'm going to match it up. And he lost those 2 matchups.
And the slider down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, it's a 2-0 fastball, and you can see where it ends up. Down and middle in, and Manny hits it right on the button. And he knows it's gone right away. He said, no more offer.
And the splitter in the dirt, so the 0-2 count has become 3-2. Jason Varitek on deck. By the way, the home run by Manny was his 452nd career home run, and that ties him with one of the all-time Red Sox greats, Carl Yastrzemski, on the all-time list. We're not talking about
Red Sox.
All-time Red Sox list. We're just talking about the all-time list. With slider, and he took a piece of the catcher McCann with that foul ball.
The all-time list is bigger than the Red Sox all-time list.
Although the Red Sox list can be pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. With Ted Williams at 521, you're right.
David Ortiz. And Ortiz is a more recent addition to the home run list. The active home run leaders, Bonds, of course, 718. Ken Griffey Jr., 547. Frank Thomas, 464. Sheffield, 453. both Thomas and Sheffield on the disabled list right now. Also, Manny ties his old teammate, Jim Thome, at 452.
You know what I think the forgotten guy on that list is Ken Griffey Jr. I think people forget that he has so many home runs, even though he's back healthy and playing well now, for the Reds. But, I mean, people just forget that he has 547 home runs. That's a big number. It obviously is not when you compare it to the 718 of Barry Bonds, but 547 is a real big number.
Well, Griffey's got a few years on Barry. 3-2 the count. The splitter, he struck it out. That is number 6 for Smoltz. Manny Ramirez, a home run to start off this inning. Peter Gammons.
Well, John, what's interesting is we know the relationship between Manny and the Red Sox has been at times rather rocky. One year offseason they had him traded for Alex Rodriguez. He asked to be traded last winter, and they actually thought they had a deal for Miguel Tejada that fell through. But this season, yesterday, was only the 4th game he's missed all year, and then he called Terry Francona at 8:15 in the morning to let him know his knee was a little bulky. Francona, the players, the coaches say he has been a model teammate, model player, and he's been happy all year, played hard. It's like it's a whole different world for him.
Well, Peter, I mean, and maybe I'm under a mistaken impression on this topic, is Varitek fouls one right back over our heads. Strike 2. But, I mean, Manny always seems to have gotten along pretty well with his teammates, right?
Yes, and he just wasn't very happy in Boston, and he had some rocky moments with managers, but it's been just the opposite this year, and people around the team can't stress it enough.
2 strikes to count to Varitek, and that splitter bounced to second. There is Giles, and that is number 2. Varitek is now 0 for 2, and Coco Crisp will come up. Now, Peter, also, didn't Manny he spent a good portion of this offseason working with a personal trainer trying to get into better shape for the season? Well,
actually, John, he's done that about 3 years in a row. He's in very good shape. I mean, he works out very hard in Florida. And his routine, I mean, he goes to the ballpark in the morning, does some hitting, goes back, rests, comes back, hits again, works out. I mean, he's a very diligent guy who takes his job very seriously. It's amazing to go to the ballpark and see him working out at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Here's Coco Crisp with a high pop-up. And there is Giles. And that's the inning. So the home run by Manny Ramirez has tied the ball game. We go to the last of the 4th inning, and in 60 seconds, we will visit with Red Sox manager Terry Francona from the Boston dugout. Stay tuned. Back with Terry Francona in 60. Braves Sox after the 4th, and we welcome Red Sox manager Terry Francona to Sunday Night Baseball from the Boston dugout. And Tito, many thanks for coming on with us.
Okay, guys, no problem.
Hey, Terry, I wanted to ask you about Manny Ramirez. Are we seeing a different Manny Ramirez? I'm not talking about hitting. I'm not talking about fielding. I'm just talking about a different Manny Ramirez this year.
You know what? I've been really pleased. There was a big deal when he came in about a week late to camp, and he called me and he said, hey, I'll be fine. He goes, I'll be ready to go. I think we all mature as we get older. He's been terrific. I mean, the perception of him is, and I understand it because he doesn't talk to the media much and people don't get to know him, but the guys around the ball club, myself, he's okay. And again, he's not going to play 162 games, and when he doesn't, people want to get on him. He's a pretty good guy.
All right. You're pitching. Matt Clement's down, David Wells. What is your game plan?
Well, sometimes you got to piece it together. When you got your whole team, intact, it's easy, or it's easier. We've had to piece it together from time to time, and pitching is the whole deal. We love our lineup, but you got to pitch the ball to get people to win games.
And Terry, Papelbon saved both Friday and yesterday's game. Is he available tonight if you need him in that spot?
Oh, yeah, he's young. He can pitch all the time.
All
Thank
right,
you, man.
We'll let you get back to work.
Yeah,
Thanks,
right.
Terry.
Okay.
Terry Francona, Red Sox manager from the dugout. And now as we get restarted, here is Wilson Betemit, and he takes a called strike from Curt Schilling.
You know, it was interesting. I wanted to ask Curt that about Manny because a lot of times we say, well, that's just Manny being Manny. You know what I mean? And I've always watched Manny, and I think I've had a good relationship with him. We've talked a lot, and I just think that there is a different Manny. As he said, I think you mature as you get older, and you realize what your role is on the team, what you're supposed to do in the community, etc. And I think he fits very well in Boston now.
30 homers and 100 RBIs, 8 straight years. He and Alex Rodriguez have both done that. But also, you always are surprised if the average isn't 300
Right.
or well above 300.
And he has definitely played better in the outfield also.
This is Betemit, 8th in the order, facing Schilling, and the fastball is too low. Peter Gammons is down by the Boston dugout. Peter?
Well, Joe and John, one of the things about Manny, I mean, you can talk about trading him and replacing him with someone, but, the Manny Ramirez's, the Jim Thome's, the Jason Giambi's, the guys that combine the average, the power, and the huge on base are just invaluable in the middle of the lineup. And that, I really believe with David Ortiz needing that protection, that he's invaluable to this team.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt without Manny in that lineup, David Ortiz would not get as many pitches to hit, and especially in clutch situations, they would just pitch around him because they still do on occasion. But without Manny back there, I don't know if he would ever get a chance to, have those big hits in the late innings.
3-2. Betemit drives one deep into right center field. That one is way back there. That ball is off the wall. Crisp plays the carom. Betemit with a stand-up double.
And a very nice play there by Coco Crisp because Betemit was thinking about a triple, and that's a long way in the gap, and if that ball bounces away at all, he would have been able to get to third base. This ball is driven in the gap. Now watch how quickly Chris gets it back in. Plays the carom perfectly, hits the cutoff man. That's what you're supposed to do. And that ball is hammered, too. I thought it had a chance of going out.
But there are doubles, and then there are doubles.
Yeah, because that ball's in the biggest part of the ballpark as well.
Hit right out between Henry Aaron and Phil Niekro, who are commemorated out on the outfield wall out there.
And I talked about John Smoltz and Maddox and all those guys being able to execute.
Pickoff play with the shortstop Gonzalez safely back is Betemit.
And let's see if John can move the runner along with a sacrifice.
How many times do you see those guys, the three of the Smoltz, Glavine,
Right.
Maddox, first pitch, get the bunt down, move the guy up. That's in for a strike. He pulled the bat back.
Well, in this case, he's going to have to bunt it down the third baseline because David Ortiz is charging from first, and Schilling is charging kind of off to the first base side almost when he comes in because he falls that way in his delivery.
Remember, Ortiz almost never plays first base except in interleague games. He's the DH. That bunt popped up right to the catcher. Veritek just came up out of the crouch and made the catch.
Well, I guess that's one of those when we talk about a guy making 100 free throws in a row, and as soon as you say it, he doesn't get the job done.
You jinxed him.
I know. Well, he's got the barrel of the bat above the ball, but then he drops the barrel of the bat. See, that's where he got in trouble. Instead of squatting down more, he dropped the barrel of the bat. Watch him. He's in perfect position, but he drops the barrel of the bat. You have to keep the bat on top of the ball to make sure you get it on the ground, and you just squat down a little bit more.
Now Giles, of course, if he gets that runner over to third with the bunt, then Giles could get him home with a fly ball, maybe even a ground ball. Maybe they bring the infield in. Who knows? Now it'll take a base hit to the outfield to get Betemit home. Giles has had 2 base hits already, and a run scored. Fastball back to the screen. Giles led off the first inning with a single and led off the 2-run third inning with a single. In fact, the Braves leadoff hitter has gotten a hit in all 4 innings so far against Curt Schilling. Schilling has thrown 68 pitches already in this game. We're only in the 4th, 1 out.
He's actually averaged 107 pitches per start.
That's more than anybody else.
Yeah.
So, and you know, probably go year in, year out. He's always either leading the league or one of the top 2 or 3 in pitches thrown. He's got the highest pitches thrown per start of any American League pitcher this year. Smoltz and Schilling against each other. It's only the 3rd time that they've ever been matched up head-to-head in a regular season game. That splitter, wow, great job by Varitek, where Betameat would be at third base despite the poor sacrifice attempt by Smoltz.
And the thing that he does there, John, is he keeps the ball in front of him. Watch his glove. He gets a glove on it and he flips it out, but he keeps it in front of him. And luckily for the Red Sox, he flips it toward third base, which would have made it a throw, of course, if the runner would have tried to advance. You see, he flips it out. But he's hit on it quickly, and Betameat is not able to advance.
Well, that could be a big play. Now, Varitek's going to go out and talk to Schilling. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count. Schilling versus Smoltz tonight. 2 veteran starters and 2 Hall of Fame candidates. And both have been not only outstanding Major League pitchers, Joe, but outstanding in the postseason, in the crucial games, the biggest games of the year. Fastball up and away.
During the Atlanta run, John Smoltz has been, you know, the top pitcher in the playoffs. You know, even when they had Maddox and Glavine and all, it was John Smoltz who was the leader of the staff in the playoffs.
15-4. That splitter foul, and Giles has been, he's been the instigator tonight for Atlanta. This is what they need from Giles, who's had a poor season up till now, hitting only .241 coming into the game.
And I still think the fact that Rafael Furcal is gone has hurt Giles. He's been put in the leadoff spot, and sometimes when you moved in the lineup, especially up to the leadoff spot, your approach changes, and he has just not been able to adjust so far.
Fights off that fastball, so Schilling really having to work hard here facing Giles with a runner at second in the 4th inning. 2-2 the score. Schilling 8-2 in the postseason. And remember, he was unbeaten in 2001 when Arizona won the whole thing. Smoltz 15-4 in postseason play. And again, Giles fights another one off. 2-2 the count.
And John Smoltz obviously not happy in the dugout because he didn't advance the runner over to third base. And he knows that's his job. And especially when a team is struggling, when you're trying to break a losing streak, everyone has to do their job. That's what I was saying. You can't pick other guys up. You just do your job. And everything will fall into place eventually.
Betameat at second. This is going to be the 9th pitch in this battle between Schilling and Giles. Splitter, and it was up. Bounce foul off to the left, and they'll go on. We might be able to turn this into a weekly show. Just, you know, Schilling versus Giles.
And they go out. Varitek wants to know exactly. So what are you thinking? Well, we tried this, we tried that. What do you want to try now?
Is there ever a pitch that you haven't thrown? Maybe you can feel like you can throw right now? Maybe the knuckleball.
Well, one of the things that, you know, Curt Schilling, and we talked about him throwing a lot of strikes, but there have been occasions where he hasn't been able to put some hitters away, you know, in key situations.
One of these last 2 innings, he's had those kind of occasions. That one is right to third. And Euclid over to David Ortiz. Out number 2. Renteria coming up. Let's go to the studio. John Buchagras with the Sports Center 30 at 30 update. Is that 10 or 11? 10. Strike one to Edgar Renteria. Runner at second. Remember, it was a leadoff double by Betameat. And this is a run that would put the Braves back ahead, but they've not been able to move him up. Renteria. Flight out to shallow left center his first time. Grounded to short in the 3rd. Facing Schilling. Fastball off the outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yankees lost today in Washington. How about the Those Nats.
Yeah.
They were down 9-2 yesterday to the Yankees. They came back and beat them 11-9. And they pinned the loss on Mariano Rivera. Today they were down 2-1 in the bottom of the ninth, and Ryan Zimmerman hit a 2-run homer. That's a curveball right to the shortstop, Alex Gonzalez, and that's the inning. A leadoff double wasted for the Braves. 2-2 to the fifth inning. Alex Gonzalez and Kurt Schilling when we come back. Presented by Taco Bell. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Peter Gammons, your Sunday night telecasters. It's the Boston Red Sox of the American League East and the Atlanta Braves of the National League East, 2-2. And they both have different goals in this game, as Alex Gonzalez leads off against John Smoltz, a half-swing foul on that slider, and it is 0-1. Schilling on deck. The Red Sox with a win will have a one-game lead over the Yankees in the American League East and will gain ground on every other team in that division, which all lost their games today. As Bobby Cox said, though, for the Braves, who've lost 6 in a row, he says his goal is to win this game. They've lost 16-19, and I said, you know, you're 13 games out, Bobby, at the start of the day, but as you see the American League East standings, that's Boston can add to those margins with a win here against all of those teams. 0-2 the count. But I said to Bobby, I said, your team's 13 games out at the start of the day, which looks real bad. But in terms of the wild card, you're only like 6.5 out at the moment. And Bobby says, my goal is to win this game.
Well, that's the manager's thought. And I mean, that's the way the managers think.
Renteria, and he throws out Alex Gonzalez. Well, one thing is for sure, even John Smoltz knows that if the Braves do not resuscitate themselves, he might be traded to a contending team this year.
Typically 2 years ago I would have said emphatically no. Now I have to entertain it. Now I see the full circle of things coming around from the standpoint of I'm not a dummy. I've been in this game long enough. I know the desire to stay here would be the first and foremost, but I also know the opportunities to acquire some young talent for my services might exist as we fall out of this and teams creep into it. I know I've heard Detroit mentioned. They're always going to go to your hometown city, but they're having a marvelous year. That's a wait-and-see thing. That's a door that is no longer closed.
And that's interesting comment there by Smoltz, because he could keep a trade from happening.
Yeah, he could veto it. He's been here 10 years. He's been in the big leagues 10 years, in the last 5 with Atlanta, so you get a chance to veto it if you have those years in with a team.
But he says that that's what he meant when he said he would entertain it.
Right.
He'd have to approve it. There's John Schuerholz. He's had that great run of success both here in Atlanta, before that in Kansas City as general manager, putting together top-notch clubs, division-winning teams, postseason teams. The Braves have won 14 consecutive division titles on the watch of John Schuerholz and Bobby Cox, the manager. And John Smoltz has been there all this time. 3-2 count now to Schilling.
Well, John, one of the things that both Bobby and John say, they have to get their pitching straightened out. That's why they are where they are.
And that's a base hit. Curt Schilling gets it to 3-2, and then he pokes a single into right field. Schilling, who had had only 2 hits in his last 43 at bats.
As I was saying, they allowed the second most runs in the National League. The starters are in the bottom half, and worst of all, their bullpen is by far the worst in the league. 54% save percentage. I mean, it's rebuilding this pitching and getting stabilized is what they want to do before, and they know they have to do before they can even think about a wild card or getting back into October.
Kevin Youkilis takes a called strike. Well, and that's a good point. And there are a lot of things that are not happening right now that would have to happen for them to suddenly be back in the race.
Well, I think Boston needs pitching as well. Even though they're in first place, they still need starting pitching. And I'll say it for the 100th time, starting pitching is still the key to successful teams. You have a great bullpen, you can have a great closer, but you have to have starting pitchers to eat up the innings and hand it to the bullpen. You want to go to the bullpen by choice, not by circumstance, but you have to. You want to be, if you go to your bullpen, you want to have things set up so that when they get there, you have the rotation set and you can finish off the ball game. If you have to start bringing guys in the 4th, 5th inning that you're trying to save for the 7th, that's where your problems start.
The splitter down and away. 2-2 to Youkilis. Well, a couple of the Braves starters missing with injury. Horacio Ramirez got hit by a line drive. He pitched a simulated game today. He actually suffered a mild concussion, and they had to bypass him in a start. He's going to start Thursday. That's the hope against Toronto. Also, Mike Hampton's been out the whole year. That's strike 3 on the outside. And for the second time in a row, Youkilis is called out on strikes.
Well, that slider is really bothering him because it starts toward the outside corner, and he thinks it's going to move way off the plate, and it doesn't. See, that ball starts toward the outside corner. That's right there. But that's a tough slider because, again, you don't see that many sliders like that in the American League, or in any league for that matter, but John Smoltz has a great slider.
Mark Loretta with 2 down, and there's that slider again. It is 0-1. 7 strikeouts for Smoltz in 4 2/3 innings. Loretta was a strikeout victim in the first. He singled in the 3rd. Schilling, the runner at first. David Ortiz on deck, which makes this a very big man to get out. You don't want to have to face Ortiz with runners all over the bases. 2-2 the score. That's pulled foul. And it is 0-2 now. So if John Smoltz were to get traded, as you mentioned, the Red Sox could use another starter. How about Schilling, Smoltz, and Beckett at the top of your rotation? That could win.
I would think so, yes.
Curt Schilling, the runner at first. Now, John Smoltz, they've got 181 wins, Joe, and also over 150 saves. Those 3 years where he was a closer, because 181 wins doesn't look like Hall of Fame. But now those 3 years, that might have been 40 or 45 wins, right? If he'd stayed a starter all 3 years, which would put him at 220, 225 wins. And now you start thinking, well, but you couple in 154 saves and the great postseason success that he's had. In right field, Francoeur. And David Ortiz does not get a chance with men on the bases. When we come back, Peter Gammons on the trade winds blowing through baseball. 2-2. Braves and Red Sox as we go to the last half of the fifth inning. And the trading deadline is still about 6 weeks away, but that is not too early for teams to start talking about possible trades. And Peter Gammons, what have you got?
Well, you know, you start with the Red Sox, and there's no question they need a starting pitcher. And Joe's right. They need more innings out of their starters. I mean, the Braves hitters were raving about John Lester, who's essentially become their fourth starter at this point, but they have no idea whether Matt Clement is going to come back or not. They've been looking for another pitcher. They've looked at Jeff Weaver with the Angels a little bit. Whether or not Anaheim will eat up some of that salary is open to question. The Braves have made it clear they'll give them John Thompson. I'm not sure that that's what they really want. And they may wait and just try to find someone else. But for the next couple of weeks, you hate to see them go and not have a fifth starter. And they have a 7.49 ERA out of their 4 or 5 spots. And so they need a pitcher.
All right, what about the Braves now? I mean, because it could go either way with the Braves, right? They might need to add somebody to get back in contention, or they may feel like they're out of contention.
Well, John Schuerholz is going to wait a little bit. I mean, I think they would move a guy like Thompson. They want to when they eventually get Kyle Davies back, he's going into rotation. Bobby Cox is talking about putting young Chucky James into the rotation in the next week. So you build around that. Mike Hampton actually has looked terrific. They're not going to activate him this year because that would lose all the insurance money. But, I mean, Schuerholz is saying, look, if we have Smoltz, Hudson, Hampton, Davies, James in a rotation next year, and we can somehow find some closer somewhere, we can be decent. And I think that's the way he's looking. You know, when you've won 14 years in a row, that's the way you think.
Scott Thorman has flied out to shallow left center, the rookie in his major league debut, now 0 for 3. And Andrew Jones is coming up. All right, any other big trade possibilities?
Well, you know, it was really interesting. When we had the Angels a couple of weeks ago, they were then talking about needing to go get a really good young outfielder who could do a lot of things. And we talked about the possibility of a Santana-Carl Crawford deal. It has been explored, but I don't think it's going to happen because Tampa wants a lot more than Irvin Santana. The Angels are not about to give any more than Irvin Santana, so I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Andrew Jones, the hitter, he has struck out and he has singled home a run. And Irvin Santana, by the way, is having a pretty good year for the Angels.
He's a pretty good pitcher. I mean, if you have Irvin Santana and Scott Kazmir at the top of your rotation, of course, one of the problems is that all those young outfielders, you know, like Delman Young and now B.J. Upton, who may have to end up playing the outfield, they've had a few problems in the minor leagues this year, so that may have delayed their elevation with Tampa Bay.
That ball just barely fouled off the bat of Andrew Jones. And the count is 0-2 to Andrew, with McCann on deck. Andrew knocked in a run with a single, a 2-out RBI single in the third. All right, so what about you, Joe? You heard the good trade rumors?
No.
Come on.
No.
Don't hold back.
I haven't heard any, really. But I did see an interesting quote from John Schuerholz as we're talking about, and he basically says, you know, our philosophy on building a bullpen good. He said closers are important, but we'll find someone. And that was in response to the fact that Reachma hasn't been doing the job, and they do not have the closer they had, you know, when they put Smoltz back into the rotation. But, you know, I think, like John Schuerholz, that, you know, the starting pitching is important, and you'll find a closer.
1-2 the count. And a high drive to center. Coco Crisp, plenty of room. Out number 2. So here now is Brian McCann. Well, you mentioned Reachma, and he's on the disabled list right now. Smoltz had those 3 years of huge save totals, and then last year Dan Kolb was, you know, they traded with the Brewers to get him. He was going to be the replacement to allow Smoltz back into the rotation, but Kolb struggled, and then Reachma ended up being the closer for a while, and then finally by the end of the year, Kyle Farnsworth, who's now with the Yankees, was the closer.
And he did a good job. Farnsworth did.
There's Chris Reachma. He's in uniform, but he was really struggling. It turns out he was hurt. McCann fouls one off the left field line. McCann is 2 for 2 against Schilling and has lifted his season's average up to 361. Well, the New York Mets, they could use another pitcher. The Mets, who had the best record in the National League.
John, very few teams do not need another starting pitcher. or maybe only the Chicago White Sox. But most other teams could always use a starting pitcher.
But, you know, the Mets, they lost 2 starters. They picked up El Duque in part of the quest to replace the guys who were hurt. And Splitter, left center, and Crisp. And that's the inning. 3 up and 3 down. 8-pitch inning for Schilling. He needed a quick one. The big guys are coming up. Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, and Nixon. When we return, it's tied at 2.
Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Brought to you by Century 21. 42 countries, 7,800 offices. We are agents of change. And Dish Network. More choices for you, better TV for all.
Here come the Red Sox into the 6th inning. David Ortiz leads off against John Smoltz. And the split-fingered fastball is in the dirt for ball 1. Big Papi hit the first pitch he saw tonight, a 97-mile-an-hour fastball over the center field wall for a home run. Then he grounded into an inning-ending double play in the 3rd.
And you see he's tried to get him out with the slider after the home run. I don't think he'll throw him a fastball unless he gets him in a fastball situation. I mean, way behind the count. See, there's another slider he threw him.
So that makes it 2-0. Yeah.
I don't think he would throw him a fastball unless he was ahead in the count 0-2 or 1-2. He might try to get him to chase something out of the strike zone.
You have Manny Ramirez on deck. Big pitch here, 2-0. And a changeup high and outside, ball 3. And Smoltz looked a little frustrated there.
Well, he was frustrated because he couldn't throw a strike. But guess what, John? He didn't want to challenge him with a 2-0 fastball. He did that with Manny Ramirez in a similar, situation, 2-0, and Manny hit it out of the ballpark. So he does not want to give in when he's in a hitter's count to these good hitters. And I would say that if you're Francona, you might let him swing here.
He threw him a slider.
Right, and John knew it as well.
So that's ball 4, and now here comes Manny.
Well, Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz have a great relationship. Look at this. They're talking hitting in batting practice about how to attack the ball. And David Ortiz goes out and he does it first. And then Manny goes out and he duplicates it. And then they get in the dugout and they compare notes. That's what I was talking about in pregame. And, these two guys have a great, great relationship, as you can see. They enjoy each other's company.
So here's Manny with Ortiz at first, and a fastball for a strike.
Make no mistake about it, John Smoltz not afraid to challenge anybody. But I think, as I said, that the team has struggled, and he's trying to do his part. He can't win the game by himself. He's just trying to do his job.
1 strike to count. Slider just missing.
And one thing he's doing here is he's taking a little bit of the break out of that slider, John. It's like more of a cut fastball that he's throwing to Manny.
But it's very fast, that's for sure.
And that was a cut fastball. It wasn't the slider.
1-1 to Manny. Change up and then bouncer right over to Trot Nixon, who's on deck. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. You got Ortiz at first, although Adam LaRoche is not holding against Ortiz. They're not afraid of him trying to steal a bag here.
And especially with Manny hitting. As they say, he's already in scoring position with Manny up there.
Manny broke out of an 0-for-18 slump with a home run his last time. And the splitter low and outside. 2-2. Manny with that maple bat, making Smoltz wait. Now digging back in. Slider, and he took it.
And that shows you right there how good a hitter Manny Ramirez is. And one of the things I wanted to say about Manny, people do not think about Manny as being an intellectual hitter, but guess what? This guy knows as much about hitting as anybody, and you see he's able to lay off of that pitch. But the reason he's able to lay off of it is because he's known that that's what John Smoltz has been trying to get him out with. And he struck him out with the slider in the first inning. So he knows he's been successful with that pitch.
Ortiz at first. He's running. And the splitter is low. He has walked both of them.
Well, and this is something that we might see a lot of as the season goes along. People trying to pitch around both of them. Well, not necessarily pitch around them, but not give in to them. I was a little shocked there. I actually thought he might try to come back inside with a fastball because he had thrown him like 3 straight sliders away. And Manny was looking for the ball away. I guarantee you he was thinking along those lines that he wasn't going to give him a fastball in. He's going to throw him a slider and hope he chased it.
Well, at least he has a little history in his favor against Nixon. Nixon is 0-for-6 lifetime with 3 strikeouts against Smoltz. A small sampling. And that is low. Well, Nixon walked his first time, struck out in the 4th.
Well, the one thing you're seeing is I think John Smoltz knows that his fastball is not hopping like it was in the first inning. And now he's trying to spot his slider a little bit more. And maybe, you know, if he has to throw the fastball, he's trying to make sure he makes a good pitch with it. But he did not want to throw Nixon a first pitch fastball either. And that's been the problem, you know, with Ortiz and now Nixon, the 2 left-handed hitters. So he doesn't, and that tells you something right there. Another changeup. You know, he has not thrown a fastball. But now he's in a position where he almost has to throw a fastball.
Chad Paranto, the right-hander, warming up in the bullpen for Atlanta. 2 walks to start the inning. Ortiz at second, Ramirez at first, and a big pitch to Trot Nixon. 3-0.
Another slider.
An appeal being asked for, but it certainly did not look even close to being a swing.
Well,
Smoltz now at 96 pitches for the game.
And this is kind of a typical John Smoltz game, John. He's pitched pretty well. But so is Kurt Schilling. They've been getting him like 4.7 runs to start. But now he's gotten to the big moments in the game, and he hasn't been able to feel like or have the confidence in his fastball. And you see he's thrown slider, slider, slider to all these 3 hitters because he knows they're all good fastball hitters.
And another walk. He has walked the bases loaded. I mean, it's got to be a long time since that's ever happened to John Smoltz.
Well, it's been a long time since he's had to face 3 hitters like David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, and Trot Nixon. Nixon was kind of the afterthought. He was worried about Ortiz, and then he was worried about Ramirez. And by falling behind and having to go into that stretch situation, he just wasn't able to make good pitches to Nixon. You know, we talked about watching Manny Ramirez hit. We showed you David Ortiz. Let's take a look at Manny Ramirez and see what makes him tick here and why he does so well. The first thing I want you to notice is that he stays behind the ball so well. So he stays behind the ball. He's not coming out over his front knee. He's not moving forward. He stays right there. He's behind the ball.
So after walking the bases loaded, here is Smoltz against Jason Varitek. He was the hitting star yesterday. First ball swinging on a high fastball, back out of play. Varitek had a bases clearing double in yesterday's game in the third inning, or in the Friday night ball game. I beg your pardon. Get the base loaded again right here. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it's interesting because I'm sure to see how John Smoltz is starting to stretch a little bit and everything. I think he's starting to, maybe feel the effects of the tension-filled pitches that he's had to throw. And remember, there's 80 pitches, and then there's stressful 80 pitches. He's had some stressful pitches now. And all of a sudden, if he had a good fastball, I think he would throw the high fastball middle in to Jason Varitek. But I'm not so sure he feels like he can reach back and make that pitch right now.
Well, this will be his 100th pitch of the night.
Yeah,
no. The slider misses.
See, that would have been a fastball if he was in felt good. He would have gone fastball belt high and in.
Smoltz has thrown 17 pitches in this inning and only 3 for strikes. Ortiz at third, Ramirez at second, Nixon at first, nobody out.
And at some point, John, you have to go after the hitter. You've walked the bases loaded, and 2 balls, 1 strike. At some point, you're going to have to give him a pitch to hit and hope he doesn't hit it, and then try to put him away.
That's a double play ball. There's Renteria to Giles to LaRoche. Double play. Ortiz is in to score. Ramirez to third, and Boston has gone ahead 3-2, but they were willing to exchange that run to get the double play.
And that was an excellent pitch. He was behind the count. He threw a fastball, but it's a sinker. Now watch the ball sink down and away. Not necessarily away, but down, and watch Varitek. See, the ball is going down, and he goes the other way with it, but he gets what Smoltz wants, something on the ground, because the ball was sinking away. So he made an excellent pitch.
Now Coco Crisp, and he takes a called strike. Runner at third, 2 down. Well, if he can get out of this with just the 1 run scoring, that of itself would be a victory for Smoltz. Red Sox get the base loaded on walks. You figure them to score a lot of runs. Giles throws out Crisp. 1 run with no hits for Boston. Now the Braves have to play catch up. Francoeur, then LaRoche coming up. 3-2, Boston. John Smoltz of the Braves, 3-2. Coming up on Thursday night, as we're seeing two great veteran pitchers going at it tonight, and Roger Clemens will make his return to the major leagues to rock it up against one of the outstanding young pitchers in the game today, Francisco Liriano, the phenom of the Minnesota Twins. Thursday Night Baseball, powered by Castro, part of the American League National League Showdown presented by State Farm. 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central on ESPN, and also available in high definition on ESPN HD. That'll be Thursday. Clemens returns to the Astros. And right now, facing the Minnesota Twins is no easy task. The Twins have won 7 in a row. They just swept the Red Sox earlier this week.
But Liriano is the real deal, too. They could have found an easier task for him to come back pitch against Liriano. I mean, he looks like Santana.
So tonight we've seen Smoltz, we've seen Schilling. Thursday night, Roger Clemens on ESPN. Tomorrow night, Randy Johnson on ESPN. At 7 Eastern, the Yankees will be in Philadelphia. Here is Jeff Francoeur. He drops down a bunt, but right back to Schilling. Well, if you got a bunt, I mean, you give away a guy who is one of the Braves' best candidates to hit a home run to tie the game. Francoeur singled home run his last time, and that was a pitch that was not in the strike zone. I mean, tough pitch on which to try and place a bunt.
Well, the one thing you do if you're bunting on the first pitch, you make sure you get it down the line or bunt it foul. You don't bunt it back to the pitcher. And if the pitch can't be pulled down the line, you just go ahead and take it.
Adam LaRoche, right center field, the alleyway. That one is going to bounce up against the wall in the second hop. And LaRoche has a double. So you're not against the whole idea of him bunting?
No, if he's leading off the inning, it's not a bad play. But you got to make sure you get the ball down the line. It looks like a changeup of some sort, but it's registered 91 miles an hour. But the release of his hand looked like it was more of an off-speed pitch, and you can see he's out in front of it. So I think it was more of a off-speed pitch. So you see him reach for it. That's not the way you reach for a fastball, especially if it's 90-plus miles an hour. You're not going to be that way out in front.
Here's Wilson Betemit, who hit a double off the right center field wall, almost to the same spot as LaRoche double. But his hit off the wall. That led off the fourth inning, and it was the beginning of a problem for the Braves because they did not get him home. He led off the inning with that double, and they never did get him on home. And we may have seen the last of John Smoltz. There's over 100 pitches for the game. He is not out on deck. There's a splitter low and outside.
But I think if they get a base hit and tie the game, I'm sure that they would leave Smoltz in. And he may leave him in anyway, John, because they've had so many problems in their bullpen. And John Smoltz may have told him, I feel good, I can go back out there, but we'll wait and see.
Ryan Langerhans is out on deck. Another splitter low and inside to Betemit, and the count is now 2-1. Betemit has flied out to left and doubled to right center. And in the bullpen, Chad Toronto will be ready if needed. 3-2. The Red Sox lead the Braves. The possible tying run is in scoring position as Smoltz, wearing the helmet, looks on from the dugout. That is foul. Another split finger pitch, and he was out on the front foot, yanked it foul.
Well, Curt Schilling has seen Betemit hit his fastball up the gap in right center, so he's just going to take a little off, as he did there.
Two and two. The Braves, 2 hits in 9 at-bats as a team tonight with runners in scoring position. High and tight. And that looked like it almost sent an electrical shock down the spine of Betemit.
Well, Betemit was looking for something off speed, a splitter or a changeup. You see he's late on it. He was trying to stay in without moving.
The ball went zipping by him. He's like, oh, whoa, whoa. 3-2. And that is ball 4.
Well, I think Curt Schilling knew that if he does get Bateman out or walks him, that they're going to pitch hit. So, but it looks like they're going to let John Smoltz go up. That's what I said. One of the problems they've had is that bullpen, and I don't think he wants to get into the bullpen this early again. And John Smoltz has probably told him that I'm doing well. I can go.
So Bobby Cox is trying to get Schilling to throw a strike to Bateman.
Well,
making him think, hey, if you walk him, we're going to send a hitter up there. Smoltz drops down the bunt. Schilling looks at third. Nope, he'll go to first. Loretta covering. The runners advance.
And that's what John Smoltz could not do in the fourth inning to move the runner over to third base. If he would have done that in the fourth inning, then, you know, they had a chance to score in a run with less than 2 outs. But you see, he gets the barrel out in front and keeps the ball on the ground. And Schilling did have a play at third base, but he takes the sure out at first because that's the second out of the inning. If it would have been no one out, I think he would have gone to third on that play.
Now Schilling and Varitek converse at the mound as Brian Giles, or rather Brian Giles' kid brother, Marcus Giles, is coming up with 2 men on, and Marcus has 2 hits tonight. The last time he was up there is the only time that Schilling retired him, and to do that, it was a 10-pitch marathon battle before he got Giles to ground out to third. So a base hit could put the Braves ahead. LaRoche, the possible tying run at third. Bateman, the possible go-ahead run at second. 2 down. Fastball. Oh, man, it came right after him. Right back to the screen on that foul ball.
One of the things that Giles will do is he'll go up after that high fastball. And he went up after that one.
The Braves, 2 for 9. And these at-bats, runners in scoring position tonight. 2 hits, 9 at-bats. 261 overall this year, although until mid-May they were hitting better than 290. So lately, as with almost everything else in the Braves game, that aspect has not been good lately. In the dirt, nice save. He's saving a run. Keeping that ball from going through his legs is Jason Varitek.
Well, the good thing if you're Varitek is the ball is straight at you. And if it was off to the side, it would have been a more difficult play. But he does a great job of covering up. And he even caught it. He was just trying to make sure he blocked it.
LaRoche at third, Bateman at second. Both better to go in anything with 2 down. Low and outside. Renteria is having a much better year so far than Giles. He's on deck. But Giles is the guy who's having the good night against Curt Schilling.
But I think if you're Curt Schilling, I mean, you have first base open, so you're going to pitch to him tough. But I think you would rather pitch to Giles in this situation than pitch to Renteria.
2-1 to Marcus Giles. Curveball. Bounce foul into the crowd off to the left.
And that was a good pitch by Schilling because he hasn't thrown a curveball for a while. So when you're sitting on the bench and you watch pitchers pitch to your teammates, you see the pitches that they're using. He hadn't thrown a curveball since around the first inning. So now he comes back with a curveball. It wasn't even a good one, but you're not looking for a curveball 2-1 in that situation. You're looking for a fastball or a splitter. So a smart pitch there by Curt.
All right, so what now? Splitter?
Well,
2-2?
He won't throw him another curveball. Because that curveball was just rolling.
2-2. Fastball. High in the air. Right center. Nixon into the big part of the yard. Makes the catch. Just to the right of the 390 marker. That was a long ride off the bat of Marcus Giles. 2 men stranded. 3-2 Boston. John Smoltz with a fastball for a strike to Alex Gonzalez, and here we go into the 7th inning. 3-2, the Red Sox lead the Braves. Now Curt Schilling due up next, but he is not out on deck. Back to the screen, a fastball is fouled straight back, 0-2. Instead, JT Snow has come out on deck for the Red Sox. There's JT. So Schilling at 101 pitches, Joe, is gone. John Smoltz, who was already at 103 pitches at the end of the 6th, was kept in there by Bobby Cox. A foul off the first base side, and no play for LaRoche. Count still 0-2 to Gonzalez.
Well, it's like he told you at the beginning. There's Curt Schilling entering some records into his log, but Bobby Cox said he's trying to win one ball game, and John Smoltz, he thinks, offers him the best opportunity to do that tonight.
And again, fouled straight back on the high hard one from Smoltz. It is 0-2. There is Manny Del Carmen, the right-hander, up in the Red Sox bullpen, getting ready for the last of the 7th. Red Sox have a game tomorrow. They're going home to Fenway Park. Marcus Giles, and that's all for Gonzalez, who gave Smoltz a battle, and right now that itself has value because the 39-year-old Smoltz has now thrown 108 pitches in this game. So every pitch that a guy like Gonzalez makes him throw is a pitch closer to getting rid of Smoltz, or maybe to getting Smoltz to that point of diminishing returns. Here's JT Snow, longtime first baseman of the San Francisco Giants, with the Angels before that. Perennial Gold Glover for many years at first base, but he has hardly played as a member of the Red Sox. He takes ball 1 down and in. Snow wears number 84. That was the number that his dad, Jack Snow, the former NFL star, wore in his days.
Wide receiver with the Rams.
And foul ball, 1 strike to JT Snow. Curt Schilling finished for the night, 6 innings, 2 runs allowed. He'll leave with a lead. JT Snow has only had 43 at bats so far this year. And this is a guy who's used to being a regular player, or in the last couple of years with the Giants. A guy who played 2/3 of the time against all the right-handed pitching at least. 2-1 the count. JT says it's been weird. It's like being on the disabled list. He just sits and watches and tries to stay in shape. 2-1 the count to JT Snow. And there was talk earlier this year that JT would like to be traded, although he didn't say anything like that to me tonight. That is in there for a called strike. 2-2 the count.
Well, if he would have said it to you, then you'd have to report it. So he didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, being the journalist that you are, you have to report it to the fans. If JT would have told you that tonight.
Yeah, I'm part of this journalistic juggernaut at ESPN. Are you kidding? And LaRoche takes it for the unassisted out. And I read this article and realized, wow, he's talking about me because I spend a lot of time surfing through ESPN.com every day. Yeah. Here's Kevin Youkilis and a splitter low and outside. It's become a major part of our sports culture, Joe. .com. Sometimes stuff gets on .com before even SportsCenter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Think about that.
All right.
Think about that the next time you're saying, catch it on SportsCenter at 11. Might be on .com right now. And a slider from Smoltz for a strike. 1 strike to Youkilis, who has gone 0 for 3. Has been called out on strikes his last 2 times up there. Maybe a little too patient tonight. A ball and a strike. Smoltz now at 115 pitches for the game. Another slider, strike 2.
Well, that's the pitch that's obviously fooling Youkilis. He's not seeing the spin on it. And he has taken all the sliders, and he struck out twice with the slider, and that one's perfect right over the outside corner. Knee high. There's another one.
This time he went out after it and poked it foul. Well, he's seen enough of them now. He figured he better start covering up on that.
Yeah, well, that was not a good swing. I mean, he just kind of, like you said, slaps at it on the right side. But, I mean, a lot of guys haven't seen the good slider that John Smoltz possesses.
1-2. Loretta would be next. 2 down, nobody on. Drops down with a fastball. A little different look there.
Yeah.
Fouled by Youkilis. I remember I guess it was the 99 World Series, Joe, and Smoltz, his elbow was killing him. And in the World Series, he didn't have that much left. All of a sudden, he started throwing knuckleballs. Remember that against the Yankees? Again from the side. And that slider hung up there and is punched into right field, a base hit. Francoeur was playing him that way. A single for Youkilis.
Well, that pitch right there, the last 2 pitches, tells you something about Smoltz. You know, it tells me that he's kind of running on fumes there because he was dropping down. You know, it's easier to drop down than it is to get up on top when you're tired. And you can see that little drop down, not much there. And he throws it right in the middle of the plate. If he gets that pitch away, you got a chance of getting it out. But if it goes in the middle of the plate, he can fight it off, as Youkilis did there.
Now Loretta has struck out, singled, and lined out to right. Smoltz, 6 2/3 innings, equaled a season's high with 4 walks, 3 of them consecutively in the 6th inning, that resulted in the Red Sox go-ahead run. Boston leads 3-2 in the 7th. 0-1 the count to Loretta. Now, unlike a lot of leadoff men, Youkilis is not much of a threat to try and steal a bag here. He has 3 steals. But I guess if you don't pay attention to him, he might take off.
Right. I found it interesting because the catcher McCann went out and talked to Smoltz after that sidearm curveball. Said, hey, man, let's stay up on top. Let's see if we can finish off this inning.
McKay McBride, the lefty, has joined the right-hander Paranto in the Atlanta bullpen. The Braves will have Renteria, the rookie Thorman, and Andrew Jones due up in the last of the 7th. But as you've already said, Joan, as we really can see, I mean, John Smoltz is trying to reach back for that little extra right now. 121 pitches thrown, and most of them under duress. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. Peter Gammons is also here. We're at Turner Field, Atlanta. The Boston Red Sox with a chance to move a full game ahead of the Yankees with a win tonight. Also, if with a win, they'll have swept the Braves. Quick throw to first, and Youkilis just does get back safely. Both David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez have hit booming home runs here against Smoltz. We've had Smoltz up against Curt Schilling. Great matchup. Schilling is now finished. They pinch hit for him here in the 7th. Schilling, 6 innings, 2 runs, 8 hits allowed. In foul ground, LaRoche. He leans in. Not quite. 1-2. At the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, he would have had plenty of room to go over and get that one. He had a huge amount of foul territory there. You see here, not as much foul territory in Turner Field. Chipper Jones, by the way, I mean, he's in uniform, but he jammed his right thumb facing the rookie John Lester in an at-bat on Friday. Did not play yesterday. Not in there tonight. Whether he'd be able to come up and pinch hit is something nobody knows. Strike 3 called on the outside. Maybe the final pitch of the night for Smoltz. 8 strikeouts in 7. Renteria, the rookie Thorman, and then Andrew Jones coming up. The Red Sox go to the pen. here tonight at Turner Field in Atlanta. Sunday Night Baseball. The Red Sox 3, the Braves 2. And time now for the Sunday night comment from Peter Gammons. Peter?
Well, John, one of the problems that the Braves have had the last couple of years is their payroll has been constantly declining into the mid-70s, about the same as the Washington Nationals, and almost 70% of that payroll is taken up in 5 players: Smoltz, Hudson, Andrew, Chipper, and Edgar Renteria. Which begs the question, will they look into trading Andrew Jones this offseason? First, he makes 17% of this payroll. Since 1985, there hasn't been one team that's won the World Series with a player making as much as 16% of payroll. Second, after all these years of diving and crashing into walls, Jones's shoulders kill him all the time, and he's really worried about how much he can play over the next few years. And third, he's a free agent at the end of next season. His agent, Scott Boras, is not going to give the Braves a hometown discount. It's something they will think about and look into.
All right, so a lot of questions about the Braves.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Last year we were talking about the Braves being Andrew Jones' team, taking over from Chipper Jones. I don't know if that's the case right now because Chipper nor Andrew are having, the years that they were looking forward to.
So Andrew coming up third in this inning as Edgar Renteria leads off against Manny Del Carmen. Fastball for a strike. We talked about some of the young Braves prospects who are up, like Frank Cooler and McCann, who are from the Atlanta area. Manny Del Carmen was born in Boston. Went to West Roxbury High School. Still lives outside of Boston in Randolph, Massachusetts now. Facing the former Red Sox, Edgar Renteria. 96-mile-an-hour fastball, 1 ball, 1 strike. They got several pitchers, Joe. John Lester got up here and got his first win in his second start last Friday, a couple of days ago. He was one of them. John Papelbon, who's been really the top closer in the league this year. He's another one. Del Carmen is one of those guys. Ooh, look at that. Had his knees ball. 1 and 2.
Most guys do not throw the big curveball anymore. They'll throw a slider, but pretty good breaking ball, although it did stay on the inside part of the plate. You can see their downward rotation. Most of their curveballs now are kind of cross from 11 to 5.
More like
on the clock.
Like a dropping curveball. Oh, another big the hammer for the strikeout. Wow.
Well, let's take a look at this breaking ball. The other one, the strike one pitch, wasn't nearly as good as this one. This one finishes him off. There's a bigger break, and the speed got him as well as the break. That's why a curveball can be so effective. The slider usually gets you with the break. The curveball can get you with the speed and the break.
And a changeup. Strike 1 to Scott Thorman. Thorman in his major league debut tonight, up from Richmond, where he hit .324. 15 homers, 44 batted in. They felt like they just needed a little more thump in the order, so they brought Thorman up. He's been hot down there. But his major league debut was against Kurt Schilling. He struck out, grounded out, flied out against Schilling. Rudy Seañez, the right-hander, and Javi Lopez just acquired this week in a trade the left-hander up in the Boston bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Del Carmen. Look at that. Blew it right by him.
It was interesting after watching the breaking ball. Now to have to go after that fastball, he was really late on it, as if he was just sitting there looking for a breaking ball.
He was on deck watching those 2 great curveballs to the preceding hitter. Fastball, right center. Nixon. Yeah, that's got it! What a play! Trot Nixon with a spectacular diving catch. And that's a big play, especially with the powerful Andrew Jones coming up next.
Definitely a big-time play by Trot Nixon. He got a good jump on it, and that was the key. As soon as that ball was hit, he wasn't fooled to taking a step backwards and then coming forward. He came forward immediately and was able to get it about 4 inches off the ground. Watch this. Excellent play by Trot Nixon. In fact, his glove is on the ground and the ball finds the pocket.
Scott Thorman may well have thought that was hit number 1. This tough lead. Here's Andrew Jones. Line drive, base hit.
Well, Andrew was sitting there looking for the breaking ball, and he got it, and he ripped it to left field for a base hit.
Let's go to the studio now. John Buccigross with the Sports Center 30 at 30 update. With the left-handed hitting Brian McCann coming up, Terry Francona is going to bring in the left-handed specialist Javi Lopez from the bullpen. Runner at first, 2 down, 3-2. Boston will be back. The big crowd looking on, and there is Javi Lopez, just acquired just a few days ago. And Lopez has spent most of the year in AAA with Charlotte. And Brian McCann is coming up against him. Lopez is making his 3rd appearance so far for the Red Sox. So here's McCann, 2 for 3. McCann hitting only .190 against left-handed pitching this year. Overall hitting .359. He had 2 hits against Curt Schilling tonight. One of them set up Atlanta's 2nd run. They had a 2-run 3rd inning rally against Schilling. So there's Lopez. 1 ball and no strikes. Runner at first, Andrew Jones, and the slider outside for a ball. 2-0. With possible tying run over at first base, and Andrew's base hit, underscoring just how significant that catch was by Trot Nixon just prior to that. You see he's hit .380 against right-handers. So, and that's in there for a called strike. 2-1 now to McCann. John Smoltz, who's thrown over 120 pitches in 7 innings. McKay McBride, the left-hander, up in the Atlanta bullpen. Jeff Francoeur on deck. He would be next. Dropping down from the side, missing low. 3-1. There is Francoeur, the right-handed hitter. And it could be that Lopez is in here just to face the one-hitter, with Francoeur up next. Ortiz on the bag with Andrew, and that is ball 4, a fastball outside. And he has walked McCann and moved the possible tying run into scoring position. Francona's coming out with 2 men on and 2 men out. And Rudy Seañez is going to be summoned from the bullpen. So the Braves a base hit away from perhaps tying the game. 2 on, 2 out in the 7th. 3-2, the Red Sox are leading, and we'll be coming right back. Pinch hitter in the first half of the inning. Manny Del Carmen started the inning, gave up a 2-out single to Andrew Jones. Javi Lopez then came in and walked Brian McCann. Now Rudy Seañez, a right-hander, to face Jeff Francoeur. And Francoeur had been a pretty reliable RBI man for the Braves this year, despite everything else and the poor start that he had. He's got 48 runs, in fact, now 49. He drove in their second run tonight with a single, a 2-out RBI single against Schilling back in the 3rd. They're asking him to do it again. There is Andrew Jones, the possible tying run at second base. McCann, the possible go-ahead run at first. 3-2, Boston ahead. Francoeur, big, strong right-handed hitter. Slider deep into left field. That one is going. That ball is off the top of the wall into the stands. A 3-run homer. 5-3. Atlanta has gone ahead.
Well, Jeff Francoeur has been really swinging the bat well, and that was a slider away, but it looked like it was a strike, and he drove it out of the ballpark. He is always just going to swing at the first pitch if he can reach it. But you got to give the Braves credit. Andrew Jones started it with 2 outs. McCann kept it going with a base on balls, and then the first pitch to Francoeur, he hits it out of the ballpark.
And they want Francoeur to take a bow.
And they should. I mean, the Braves have been trailing this entire series against the Boston Red Sox.
Now LaRoche with a ground ball foul.
Well, first pitch slide where it is. And it's not, again, it's not a bad pitch, John. It's knee high on the outside part of the plate. He just goes out there and gets it.
The guy has pretty good plate
The guy's got good plate coverage. And even off the plate.
I mean, his RBI single in the 3rd was off the plate.
Off the plate, slider down and away. And you just have to give him credit. I mean, as he told Peter, he's just got to go up there and be aggressive and swing the bat. And you do not mind when you have runners in scoring position.
That's Ortiz. And the inning is over. It all started with 2 down and nobody on after Trot Nixon's great catch. 3 runs later, no 10th win for Curt Schilling tonight. The Braves are leading, but now Ortiz and Manny coming up.
In part by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution.
Jeff Francoeur, a 3-run homer. And now here is Kay McBride. Look at that. David Ortiz bunting. There was nobody anywhere near third base. The Red Sox need 2 runs to tie. And Ortiz figured, I guess, Joe, hey, they're going to give me a bunt single. I'm going to take it.
Well, I think it was a great idea by David Ortiz. I mean, you need 2 runs. You can't hit a 2-run homer with no one on base. He was trying to get on base for Manny, who's following. And now he's forced the Braves to change their defense.
Team player.
Yeah, definitely a team player.
Doesn't help his home run and RBI totals if he bunts.
Yeah, but he
could help the club, though.
Yeah.
Now, Betemit, who is way over toward the middle,
yeah,
as the only player on the left side of the infield, has moved about halfway between second and third. As you see, McKay McBride and his numbers for the year. And he is still building himself back up to where he was before, coming back from an injury. Man. Pretty good fastball, and they got that in tight to Ortiz.
And a good spot up and in. Not only in, John, it was up. Nope. It's supposed to be away, but it's up. And you can see can't quite get to it. A little tardy on it.
The slider, did he swing? Yes, he did. Strike 3. The plate umpire, Brian Runge, called that one himself.
And David Ortiz obviously not happy with the check swing. It appeared that the barrel of the bat went. We'll get a better look at it from here. Definitely. It's definitely a swing.
The definition, did he attempt to strike the ball? Here's Manny Ramirez. Strike 1. Ortiz had a homer in the first inning. Ramirez hit a homer in the 4th inning.
And that Brian Runge, the home plate umpire, is the son of one of my favorite all-time umpires, Paul Runge. We were also teammates in the minor leagues.
That's a called strike on the outside, and it's 0-2. And Manny didn't think so. Manny has not done well against left-handed pitching, which is sort of odd. Manny thought that was off the outside, and so did Keizo. Manny is only hitting .238 against lefties. Strike three called.
Well, I guess that's why you can be 0 for 21 if you do not swing. And that's just shocking to see Manny take a third strike, especially from a left-hander. And clearly that ball gets a lot of the plate.
Shoodown and Trot Nixon coming up. And Peter, McKay McBride, what do you know about him?
Well, Bobby Cox thought in the spring that he might end up their closer by the end of the year. As you know, he's always sort of put together a bullpen. Then he had the wrist injury and spent some time out. And he's been saying the last couple of days, and he thinks as they start to put this pitching staff back together, and McBride, fastball, slider, and tremendous guts, may be the guy that the last 2 months of the season ends up closing.
Well, he's looked like a closer so far in this one. Did he swing? No. Mike Winters, the third base umpire, invokes the wrath of the crowd. 1-1 the count to Nixon. 9 pitches thrown by McBride. That's only the second one, not a strike. Mike Timlin, Red Sox setup man, getting ready in the Boston bullpen. In the first half of the 8th inning, 5-3 Atlanta. Curveball. 2-1. Trot Nixon has walked, struck out, and walked again. His walk in the 6th inning was the 3rd consecutive walk allowed by John Smoltz. He walked the bases loaded to start that inning, and the Red Sox ended up getting only 1 run out of it. He fouled ground, Beta meet, and that one will be back into the cloud. 2-2. In left field now, Ryan Langerhans. He entered the game with McBride, a double switch. Langerhans will be listed in the 9th spot on the order and be up 2nd in the last half of this inning. And McBride is in the 3rd spot, whereas rookie Scott Thorman had been. Rudy Seañez gave up the 3-run homer to Francoeur. I mean, really kind of hard to blame Seañez for it. It wasn't like he hung one right down the middle of the plate.
No, true, but I think, again, guys are going to have to learn that Francoeur is a free swinger, and if you give him anything he can reach, he's going to swing at it.
Did he swing? A slider. Down and away. No appeal even by McCann. 3-2 the count. Well, I'm thinking, Joe, based on what we've seen tonight, I'd rather crowd the guy. I mean, if he gets his arms extended, it could be bad news for the pitcher.
Right.
He knocked in a run against Schilling. Pitch was several inches off the outside. And that is a walk for Nixon. The 3rd time that he has walked tonight. And it brings up the switch hitter, Varitek, who has over the years exhibited more power as a right-handed hitter. There's the Braves bullpen so far this year. It's not pretty. 15th in ERA, batting average against, and the walks out of the bullpen, the 3rd most walks allowed. So pick a category, and it all adds up to the same thing with the Braves. It has not been good. Leads have been hard to hold. Varitek is 0 for 3 in this game. Varitek this year, 3 homers and 67 at bats, batting right-handed. I mean, he had not hit many home runs, period. Only 7 home runs so far. But a better percentage from the right side. Outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. That is Nixon over at first. One and 1 the count. Now we mentioned talking about this bullpen and how does it come into play. Well, John Smoltz has left 4 different games this year ahead that the bullpen blew, and that is tied for the most blown wins for one pitcher by any bullpen. And that misses with a breaking ball. 3-1. Coco Crisp on deck. And the first baseman, LaRoche, goes to the mound to talk to McBride.
And Bobby's questioning pitches. He threw him 2 fastballs, were tailing away and was missing badly. So he tried to throw him a breaking ball just to change his arm angle. And that was called a ball.
48,826 the crowd as Bobby gives Brian Runge a piece of his mind from the dugout. At the knees, strike two. The outfield is very deep all the way around. Here's Crisp on deck. Trot Nixon takes off, and it's too low. So McBride has walked two in a row.
And that's one of the big problems you noted with their bullpen. Not being able to throw strikes. You had a 2-run lead and you walked 2 hitters. I mean, that's just unacceptable.
Roger McDowell out to the mound to visit with 2 men on and 2 men out. So the 2 walks have put the possible tying runs on base as Chad Paranto, the right-hander, is up in the Atlanta bullpen. Well, the switch hitting Coco Crisp coming on.
But 2 things are happening. You're about to go through this batting order if you walk another guy or something, and then you may have to face Ortiz or Manny in the 9th inning again.
Tomorrow night, Monday Night Baseball, presented by TD Ameritrade. Part of the American League National League Showdown presented by State Farm. The Yankees and Randy Johnson in Philadelphia up against Bobby Abreu, Pat Burrell, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard and company. 7 Eastern. Little bit high to Crisp. Fastball missing.
Well, that's the last 2 pitches, John. He hasn't thrown them. He's aimed them, just trying to throw a strike.
Perhaps feeling the heat now.
Yeah.
Nixon at second. Varitek at first. Coco Crisp 0 for 3 tonight. Too low. 2-0. Crisp out of the box. Crisp been one of the disabled lists early on this year. This is only his 25th game total for the year. In the Red Sox 67th game. He's had 7 runs batted in. He's not been much of an RBI man. He's hitting 172 with runners in scoring position. In fact, made the final out with a runner at third in the 6th inning on a ground out. That's up the middle, base hit. Nixon will come around to score. Varitek will go to third, and Crisp comes through. 5-4 Atlanta.
Again, you just cannot walk hitters late in the ball game when you have the lead. You've got to be able to force them to swing the bat. And there you see Bobby Cox. He's just not going to put up with that. And he's going to make a pitch and change.
The right-hander, Paranto, has been up. And Mike Remlinger, the left-hander, has now joined him out there. Alex Gonzalez, a right-handed hitter, is due up for the Red Sox. Runners at first and third. The Red Sox fans rocking Turner Field in Atlanta. New pitcher coming in. We'll be right back. 2 down in the 7th, and they put Atlanta ahead, but now that lead is in jeopardy. Francoeur with this big fly at a big moment. Skipped in there right off the top of the wall in left field. His 15th home run this year, his first full year in the big leagues. Coco Crisp singling home a run for the Red Sox now in the 8th inning against McKay McBride. Trot Nixon came around to score, and Varitek moved over to third. So McBride is out, and it was the walks that really
struck out the first 2 guys and then walked 2 hitters and then gave up a base hit to Chris.
And he fell behind Crisp.
Yeah.
So now Parado, who is a native New Englander from Woodsville, New Hampshire, went to UMass, and he's facing Mike Lowell, a pinch hitter. And Lowell, the former Florida Marlin, is having a very fine season, hitting .314, 7 homers, 25 doubles, and 35 runs batted in. Base hit to tie the game. Pitcher spot due up next. That's pulled foul on a single. 1 ball, 1 strike. But Gabe Kapler has come out on deck for the Red Sox. 5-4, the Braves lead the Red Sox here. Kapler hoping to bat here in the 8th. Mike Lowell trying to at least knock in the tying run, facing Paranto, who grew up a Red Sox fan. And that's too low. 2-1 the count. 2 balls, 1 strike with 2 men on and 2 men out, and a run in for the Red Sox in the 8th inning. Walks have been key for Boston here in these last 3 innings. Off the fist, back to the screen. 2-2. 3 consecutive walks by Smoltz. He walked Ortiz, Ramirez, and Nixon to start the 6th inning, but Boston got only 1 run out of it when Varitek hit a double play ball.
Right, exactly. I mean, a good pitch by Smoltz to get out of that jam with only 1 run scoring.
And the crowd rises to its feet. Varitek, the possible tying run at third. Crisp, the runner at first. Too low. And now it is a full count, 3-2. Paranto, 30-year-old journeyman, has been in the big leagues with Baltimore, Cleveland. The runner from first, Crisp, who runs well, will take off with this pitch. He is the possible go-ahead run. There he goes. Right center field. That's into the alleyway. Francoeur knocks it down. The tying run is scored. Here comes Crisp with the go-ahead run. A 2-run pinch hit double by Lowell, and Boston is back ahead. And for the 5th time this year, the Braves bullpen cannot hold a lead for John Smoltz.
Well, what happened here, you go to 3-2, that puts Chris in motion. I don't think he would have been able to score if he was not running with the pitch. He gets a good jump. The ball's hitting the gap by Lowell, and both runners are able to score. So their inability to throw strikes is what is good. But you can't get Crisp anyway because he was running with the pitch. And that's what happens when you go to 3-2 instead of making it happen 2-2.
Listen to these Red Sox fans in Atlanta. That's up the middle. Alex Cora, the pinch hitter. Base hit. Here comes Lowell. And he scores. And going to second is Cora. 7-5 Boston. They've scored 4 runs in the 8th.
After 2 are out.
2 down and nobody on. That's when it started.
Well, I mean, fastball is kind of belt high. It's away, And Cora just lines it right back through the middle. He doesn't try to pull it.
And you can see, sort of says it all about what's happening with the Braves these days.
Very frustrating.
And that's inside to Kevin Youkilis, the 8th batter of the inning. I mean, how did this happen? With the first 2 batters of the inning were David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez, and they both struck out. And then the Red Sox score 4 runs. I'm not sure I saw that one coming, Joe. Youkilis, that is foul.
Well, I'm sure Bobby Cox didn't, because he was worried about Manny and Ortiz, I'm sure. And once he got through those 2, he said, well, throw a strike. And then the inability of McBride to throw a strike. He walked a couple of guys, and now, I mean, this is just amazing to me, but this is what happens when a team is struggling.
Well, Joe, every year, you know, they've never really had a set closer with the exception of John Smoltz. And every year, John Sherrills just goes, okay, Bobby Cox will figure it out. And this is the one time. I mean, they had Chuck McMichael lead them in saves one year. And this is one year there was nobody to figure it out.
That ball is hit way back down the line. And it's gone. A 2-run homer for Youkilis. And the Red Sox have exploded in Atlanta. A 6-run rally, all starting with 2 down and nobody on. 9-5 Boston.
Well, this is the offensive explosion the Red Sox have been waiting for. And this is the offense that we grew to love in 2 years ago when they won the World Championship.
So, Toronto faces 3 hitters. And everything just comes crashing down around him. Lowell a 2-run double, Cora an RBI single, Youkilis a 2-run homer. 5 runs have scored since Toronto got in there. And Kevin Youkilis with his 9th home run of the year. And that one just back into the first row of the bleachers. 9-5 Red Sox. Remlinger in for the bullpen, and we'll be back. Runs 5 and 6 in this explosion of the 8th inning against the Atlanta bullpen. And it's been a tale of woe for the Braves bullpen for much of this season. And there is Mike Remlinger, the veteran lefty, to face Loretta, the 9th hitter of the inning.
As you mentioned, it's the 5th time John Smoltz has been leading, and the bullpen couldn't hold the lead for him.
And that now is more than any other pitcher in the majors to have a lead not held by the bullpen. And that's a base hit to left field. Loretta's second hit. And so now we start over again with the man who led off the inning. Remember, that was such ancient history that David Ortiz tried to bunt because the Red Sox needed a base runner. He did not get the bunt down. He eventually struck out. And Manny Ramirez also struck out. And nobody has gone down since.
And you do not like to think that a pitcher loses concentration out there, but McBride concentrated on Ortiz and Ramirez and struck them out. And then he walked the next two hitters. That has to be a lack of concentration.
I'm just wondering, Joe, in the Big Papi Manny era,
Has that happened?
when have both of them gone down and the team scored 6 runs in the inning anyway? 0-1 to David Ortiz. That's a foul. 0-2. SportsCenter will come along right after the ball game. And the Braves were hoping SportsCenter would get here a little more quickly than
exactly.
this. But the bullpen has gone down in flames. SportsCenter right after the game. Neil Everett and Stan Barrett will bring it to you. 1 ball and 2 strikes to David Ortiz. And it is rather grim right now in the Atlanta dugout. A club that had already lost 6 in a row, 16 of the last 19. They started this night dead last in the National League East. The Mets won their ball game today. And at the moment, the Braves are 13.5 back, and with a loss, they'll be 14 back. And that's down and away. And the other thing that's dismaying for the Braves, the 2 teams directly ahead of them are going absolutely in the other direction. Nobody is hotter than the Florida Marlins. The young Marlins are 18-6 as Roger McDowell gets on the phone to the bullpen again. And Washington has gone 18-10 in the last month. It's a foul on that high slider from Remlinger. 2-2. Andrew Jones, who got a base hit to start the Braves. 3 runs, 7-inning rally. All of those runs scored up to 2 are down on Francoeur's home run. As you see the National League East standings. Not something that the Braves are looking at much right now. That one got him. Fastball that hits Ortiz. And unfortunately, I think for Ortiz, he's wearing some armor right there. So now 2 men on. Loretta over to second. Ortiz to first, and Manny Ramirez will get another shot at it.
Well, he threw a couple of breaking balls away, and he's trying to throw a fastball in. And Ortiz really didn't move away. Watch, he doesn't move away. Just kind of, well, it was pretty much way off the plate inside, but he's got the elbow pad on, so obviously he doesn't get hurt. Although it did hurt anyway, but he doesn't get hurt.
Manny Ramirez, who homered back in the 4th inning. Changeup, ball 1. The Braves bullpen. Well, we've also seen the question as to why Bobby Cox wanted 1 more inning out of Smoltz.
And maybe he needed 1 more. He took the extra one in the 6th inning, got him through the 7th, but he may have needed him to take him through the 8th.
He threw 123 pitches to get through 7. And a high pop-up. Renteria. And at long last, the inning is over. 11 men bat in the inning. 6 of them scored. None driven in by Ortiz or Ramirez. Youkilis with a home run. We'll be back. Bridgestone Tires, passion for excellence. Kenny Rogers at his 200th career win and his 10th of this season today. The Oakland Athletics, they won another ball game. That's 10 in a row. They are 14-2 in June and are atop the American League West. And the Florida Marlins, the young Marlins, rebuilding, right, with a bunch of young prospects. They were getting their brains beat out the first 6 weeks or so of the season. They won their 8th in a row today. They are 18-6 the last 24. Meanwhile, there's the question of the Braves bullpen. And the bullpen tonight, 1 inning in relief of Smoltz, 6 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, and a hit batsman. 11 men came up for Boston. Now Mike Timlin back from the disabled list for the Red Sox, and he's the setup man in front of Papelbon. And there is strike 1. Several changes behind him. Mike Lowell stays in to play third base. He pinch hit for Gonzalez. Alex Cora stays in to play shortstop. He hit for the pitcher. And Youkilis moves from third base over to first base. Timlin is slotted in the number 3 position where David Ortiz had been. Ortiz out of the game now. 0-2 the count to Wilson Betemit, who has flied out to left, doubled, and walked. Ryan Langerhans on deck. Then the leadoff man Marcus Giles due up third. And that's inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, it's a perfect situation for Timlin to come in, get some work, try to get back in the groove, and because he is an important part of the Boston Red Sox late inning relief.
Timlin worked the 8th inning here on Friday and was very efficient. 3 up, 3 down, only threw 9 pitches. Had a strikeout. And right now, I mean, in the American League, he's one of the best 8th inning guys in front of the closer around. To second base, angling back into the outfield. Loretta throws him out. 1 away.
John, last week we congratulated Reggie Sanders on joining that exclusive club, 300 home runs, 300 stolen bases. Well, this week we can congratulate someone else for joining. Steve Finley also joined that 300 home run, 300 stolen base club, which consisted before of Reggie Sanders, Willie Mays, Andre Dawson, Barry Bonds, and Bobby Bonds.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Steve Finley.
Henry Aaron hit the 755 home runs, but did not have as many as 300 steals.
No.
I think he could have.
Definitely. Well, the game was different. Again, that's
Langerhans the hitter, and that little cut fastball off the inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Man, what a nightmare for the Braves. I mean, John Smoltz left things in pretty good hands. He left with a 5-3 lead, with Francoeur touching up the Boston bullpen. I mean, the Boston bullpen handed a lead from Curt Schilling, right? They failed to save a win for Schilling, which would have been his 10th. And the Braves got 2 down, nobody on. They started a 3-run rally. And Boston started a 2 down, nobody on 6-run rally. So Boston has a 9-5 lead now. Seañez, who came in with a 3-2 lead and 2 men on in the 7th and gave up a 3-run homer to Jeff Francoeur, it would be his game to win.
Well, I mean, some people might say, well, he woke Boston up. They were ahead the entire ball game almost, and he just decided, well, maybe I'll wake our teammates up, and he woke them up.
I'm thinking that the 2 walks by McKay, McBride, and Nixon
had something to do with it.
Yeah,
okay,
might have been even more effective in awakening the Red Sox from their slumber. And that cutter down and in. 2-2. The Atlanta Braves, who have been so good for so long. Bobby Cox. And this is got to be awfully hard to take when you've managed the club to 14 straight first place finishes. Not just making the postseason 14 straight times, because now in baseball you could also get in as a wild card team, but 14 straight times in first place. And that is unique. That is a remarkable achievement. That's a foul ball by Langerhans. 2-2 the count. Since 1991, and remember 1994, the season was not played to a finish because of the strike. But it's been a great history of excellence for the Braves. They've won the whole thing 5 times in the National League and won the World Series 1 time. That one is into left center field. That's going to be a base hit. It's into the alleyway. That will roll to the wall. Ramirez has to pick it up. Langerhans will hold with a double. The Braves came into the game tonight 30-39. 9 games under 500, 13 games out at the start of the day. It's the first time they've been in last place at any time since 1990. First time they've been 9 games under 500 since 1990. First time they've been 11 games or more out of first place since 1990. 1990 was the last year of the bad old days for the Braves. That ball, left center. Manny's going to have to chase that one. Base hit. Langerhans going to be waved home. And here comes Cora's throw. Langerhans is in. He got a late break, not knowing if it was going to be caught or not. An RBI single for Giles. His third hit. It is 9-6. Boston.
Well, it's supposed to be a pitch down and away. It's a fastball right about Beltine in the middle of the plate. And Giles rips it to left center field, but Manny hits the cutoff man, and Cora fires to the plate, and it's a much closer play than you would like, especially when you're trailing by 4 runs at the time.
Nice slide there by Langerhans, fading away. 3 hits for Marcus Giles. I keep saying Brian Giles, his older brother. And here is Renteria. Ball 1. Now out on deck, because the pitcher is now in the 3rd spot. But out on deck is Chipper Jones. So if Renteria could reach, Chipper Jones would come up as the possible tying run. And he's had success in the past against Timlin. Chased one there. One thing for sure against the Red Sox this year, you don't want to be behind going to the 9th inning.
Right.
Because John Papelbon has been extraordinary. 22 saves in 23 chances. And really the one blown save is sort of an anomaly in that save rule. He came out of the 8th inning inheriting somebody else's base runners, and one of those guys scored.
Right.
But he got the blown save, not the guy who
put the runner out there.
Put the guy out there. 2-1 to Edgar Renteria. He is 0 for 4 tonight, having a fine season for Atlanta. And a foul. In the Atlanta bullpen, Ray, who's been the closer lately, on the left side, and Oscar Villarreal on the right. The Boston bullpen is quiet. Papelbon has had saves in each of the first 2 games of this series already.
And as Tito Francona, Terry.
I just want to see coming up here in this spot, but we don't know how effective Chipper's going to be. He jammed that right thumb and kept him out of the game yesterday and kept him out of the lineup tonight. John Lester jammed him with a fastball on Friday night. Now they're going. Julian Tavares on the left. John Papelbon, the closer, on the right. Oh, and Al Nipper, by the way, is the acting pitching coach for Boston. That was Al Nipper, not Dave Wallace, who went out to the mound. And that's up and away for a ball. Dave Wallace still in recovery after the hip replacement surgery. We send him our best wishes. Maybe he should just turn this off right now and set his recovery back. Chipper Jones with Marcus Giles at second base. Edgar Renteria at first base. Chipper, the veteran, great RBI man. That's too low. 2-0. So Timlin, he knows all about that history. He remembers those 2 home runs hit by Chipper against him. Andrew Jones, though, is on deck. And the Braves fans come alive. 9-6 Boston, last of the 8th. That's a high strike. 2-1 now to Chipper. The Braves, trailing 3-2 in the 7th, got 3 to go ahead 5-3. The Red Sox in the 8th got 6 to go ahead 9-5. The Braves have 1 in the last of the 8th. 2 men on. And it misses. 3-1.
Well, you can see he's trying to be careful with Chipper Jones, which you should, because he doesn't know how effective Chipper can be with the sore thumb either. But I would think that he can be pretty effective, because you wouldn't send him up to pinch hit otherwise.
I mean, wouldn't you figure you try to jam him when the guy's got a sore thumb? 3-1. That could be 2. There's 1. Cora over to first. Not in time.
Great slide at second base. You kind of break that up. I'm not so sure Cora shouldn't have flipped that to Loretta at second base, because it took him about 3 or 4 steps to get to the bag. But he was making sure of one, which is the proper thing to do, actually. And see, watch how many steps he has to take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as he's starting to throw.
And by that time, he was in harm's way.
Right, and Chipper could beat it out. Now watch, Loretta's getting there. He's going to be there. If he flips it to him, but he takes it himself. But again, you're trying to make sure you get the first out.
Now Andrew Jones, and he is the possible tying run. Up the middle, base hit. Giles scores. Chipper to second. Andrew's 3rd hit of the night, his 2nd RBI. It's 9-7 Red Sox. And now the possible tying runs are on base. And here comes Francona. 4 hits in the inning against Timlin. The Braves have roughed him up. And which of those 2 is coming in to face Brian McCann? It's the closer, Papelbon. Best in the American League so far, coming in. Red Sox holding a 9-7 lead over the Braves. That lead is very much in jeopardy right now. Mike Timlin, 2/3 of an inning, 2 runs allowed. The Boston bullpen has allowed 5 runs in 6 hits in an inning and 2/3. The Braves bullpen, 1 inning, 6 runs allowed. But now the Red Sox will make the move that is their final move with a lead. And Timlin is pacing in the dugout. Sports Center right after the game with Neil Everett and Stan Barrett. Yankees did not use their bullpen today. Chin-Ming Wong ended up giving up a 2-run bottom of the 9th inning home run to Ryan Zimmerman. They'll show you the highlight. The U.S. Open, NBA Finals, everything in the world of sports and all around baseball on Sports Center after the game. There's John Papelbon, 22 saves. Look at that earned run average, 0.26.
Yeah, now that's what's impressive. Because there are a lot of closers who have even closed games and have a higher earned run average. That's an impressive earned run average.
Well, how about this if you want to be impressed? 34 in the 3rd innings, 18 hits allowed, and 4 walks. Now for me, that's impressive.
That's impressive, all right.
I mean, that's 22 base runners allowed and 34 in the 3rd innings. And here's McCann, the young Atlanta catcher, and the Braves' leading hitter for batting average, hitting .359. He's had 2 singles and a walk tonight. 2 men on.
Good low fastball hitter.
Left field and Manning right there. And just like that, the inning is over. Papelbon comes on, puts it into the foolishness. Now to the 9th inning. Trot Nixon coming up. 9-7 Red Sox. Now we get to the top of the 9th inning after a wild 7th and 8th combo. In the 8th inning, Boston down 5-3, and then Coco Crisp with an RBI single to make it 5-4. Mike Lowell, a pinch hitter, hit a 2-run double to put him ahead, and then another pinch hitter, Cora, with an RBI single to put him still further ahead, and finally, leadoff man Youkilis, a 2-run homer, and it was a 6-run explosion that all started after 2 were down with nobody on base. That made it 9-5 Boston. But Atlanta came charging back with 2 of their own in the last of the 8th after their 3-run 7th inning. 9-7, and now Atlanta brings in the closer, Kenny Ray, and he's been the closer here lately. Both injury and ineffectiveness from Rietzman. Now Rietzman's on the disabled list. And that changeup, and that misses. Kenny Ray, who is a guy who has hung on to realize this dream for a long time. Guy who has been pitching in independent leagues to keep the dream alive. 1-2 the count. I remember when the Braves years ago, Joe, when they got this whole thing going, they brought up a guy who'd been in an independent league, a catcher named Greg Olson, and he became an important player for them. Greg McMichael, whom Peter Gammons brought up earlier, was at one time in an independent league. Guys who look like they have no future with a shot to Major League Baseball, but who keep at it. Now Kenny Ray. 2-2 the count to Trot Nixon. Jason Varitek on deck. Coco Crisp due up third. That's a base hit. Now let's go to the studio. Here's John Butchergrass with the SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
All right.
All right, here's Jason Varitek, who is 0 for 3 with a walk. His walk was the second walk that started that rally in the 8th inning, and he takes ball one. Peter Gammons, you know all about Kenny Ray and the route he has taken to get here.
I remember when he came up with Kansas City, then he hurt his arm and he bounced around. Last year, in April and May, early June, he was pitching for the North Shore Spirit of the Can-Am League in Lynn, Massachusetts, a place called Frazier Field. He said they didn't have locker rooms. They had 4 trailers in the outfield. He said it was the worst place on earth, and it's made him appreciate shagging fly balls during batting practice.
They didn't have locker rooms?
No, they had 4 trailers. Yeah, he said it's the worst place he's ever been in his life.
Wow. But now he's at Turner Field.
Yeah. One of the nicest stadiums in all of Major League Baseball.
Now look at that. 7 years ago, he was in the big leagues with the Royals for 13 games. Things did not go well for him. It took him a long time to get back. But the Braves this year, this is Ray's 33rd appearance. He came in with a 2.84 ERA. He's had 4 saves. Crisp up the first base side. That is foul. Strike one. Crisp, who got that clutch 2-out base hit, by the way, after the 2 walks. One to Nixon, one to Varitek. They still needed somebody to come through, and Crisp came through with the 2-out single to keep the inning going and knock McKay-McBride out of the box. Trot Nixon at second. They had a little hit-run action there. Otherwise, that could have been a double play ball right back to Kenny Ray. Up the middle. Crisp does it again. Nixon around third, and he's going to score without a throw. So Coco Crisp comes through in the 8th inning, and again here in the 9th inning. It is 10-7 Red Sox.
Well, it's interesting. Euclid in the top spot is hitting home runs. Crisp hitting down lower in the order is driving in runs with singles, getting 2-out clutch base hit, as you mentioned, in the 8th inning, and now he comes back and drives in an insurance run here in the 9th.
And how about that? The hit and run play before that
got him in the position.
Nixon over to second base.
But it's like you said, if he wouldn't have been running, it would have been a double play.
Here's Mike Lowell, and he takes the ball after Crisp's single made it 5-4 Atlanta. Lowell came up as a pinch hitter against Chad Paranto, who came in for the bullpen, and Lowell hit a 2-run double to right center, and that put the Red Sox ahead. And Lowell hitting doubles, not so unusual. That was his 26th double of the year. He leads the American League in that category. Remember, last year he had a horrible year for the Florida Marlins, and many thought, well, maybe Lowell's finished. He had a slow bat. There goes Crisp. The throw down. He steals it easily.
The Go-Go Sox.
Fifth steal.
Running and stealing bases.
Steal number 5 for Coco Crisp.
Well, McCann doesn't have a chance. I mean, you can see he was running well before the ball was delivered to the plate, and not even close at second.
number 2. So Lowell is gone. And now Alex Cora. John Smoltz and Kurt Schilling, that was the matchup tonight. But unfortunately, neither of the two baseball warriors was around real deep into the game. Smoltz went 7, gave up 3 runs, had 8 strikeouts.
And the lead when he left
with a 5-3 lead. But the bullpen has allowed 7. Ooh. I said that and it gave me a chill down my spine. 1 2/3 innings. I mean, that is that's a spine-tingling thing right now for the Braves to hand it to the bullpen. When Schilling and Smoltz were in the game, it was 3-2 Boston. And the Red Sox immediately blew the lead for Schilling when they came on in the 7th. 3 runs scored on Jeff Francoeur's home run. And then 2 more in the 8th. So the Red Sox bullpen hasn't been very strong either tonight. Although John Papelbon promptly ended the Atlanta rally in the 8th with 1 pitch. 2-1 now to Alex Cora. He got a pinch hit single that made it 7-5. Papelbon, who got saves here yesterday and Friday as well. 1 inning each game. He threw 11 pitches yesterday with 1 strikeout, 3 up, 3 down. And he threw 16 pitches on Friday, allowing 1 hit with no strikeouts. Got the game face on, Joe.
Yes, definitely.
3-1. That's a called strike. Cora was ready to take a walk. 3-2. So we got a pretty good pitching duel, but both pitchers were taxed. They had to throw a lot of pitches to get where they did. Atlanta will have Francoeur, LaRoche, and Betemit up in the last of the 9th. 10-7, Boston ahead. 2 down. Crisp at second. And Cora gets the walk. That is the 3rd walk plus a hit batsman allowed by the Atlanta bullpen in these last 2 innings. And leadoff man Kevin Youkilis comes up. Youkilis 2 for 5. But his most damaging hit, the 2-run homer to cap the 6-run 8th inning rally, that was against Chad Paranto after Smoltz was out. And it's 0-1. Ray's got a pretty good fastball. That one 95 miles an hour. Boston has scored 7 runs in these last 2 innings. The Braves have scored 5 runs in their last 2 at-bats. Like we had 2 different games here, Joe.
Definitely. Well, it has been 2 different games. We had a well-pitched ball game in the first half. And in the second half, we've had some walks and base hits. We've had a little bit of everything.
Some big flies.
Yeah, some from both sides.
We've had leads change hands. Oscar Villarreal getting ready in the Atlanta bullpen. 0-2 to Youkilis. 2 men on, 2 men out. Down and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Red Sox going home. They'll be at Fenway Park. And they've got a game tomorrow night at Fenway against the Washington Nationals. Against Alfonso Soriano and Ryan Zimmerman.
Well, they better beware of the Nationals. The Nats are hot.
They just took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, coming from behind both times. That one is caught by Ray. 2 hits, 2 left. Last chance for the Braves. Francoeur coming up. 10-7 Red Sox. Sunday Night Baseball, late into the night from Atlanta. The Boston Red Sox leading the Atlanta Braves 10-7. And there is John Papelbon, the young phenom, trying to wrap up his 23rd save of the year. Jeff Francoeur, the Braves' young phenom, the slugger, stands in. And a foul out of play. Francoeur has had 4 RBIs tonight, including a dramatic 7-inning home run with his team down by a run. He hit a 3-run homer against Rudy Seañez. Hit the top of the wall and skipped into the crowd.
And at that point, I think the Braves thought they were going to break this losing streak.
One ball, one strike. Papelbon with the split finger pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike to Francoeur. Francoeur, I mean, what extraordinary talent this guy's had.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's even actually seen a strike tonight. I mean, the RBIs were both on pitches that ordinarily you say, well, those are pretty good pitches.
They were good pitches, breaking balls away. As you mentioned, one off the plate away, the other right on the outside corner, knee high.
Papelbon with the closer look, the menacing glare. I mean, 95 miles an hour, Joe, he makes it look so easy. Two and two.
He's got the look. He's got it down.
That's down the third base side, just foul. Two and two.
Just outside the bag as it crosses third base.
No question. Mike Winters made the call. 2-2 the count. Now, Joe, this guy's got something. This stare is right out of a Stephen King.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it.
I'm sitting up here and I'm intimidated.
Well, let's see if he throws a strike.
He swung. Strike 3. Francoeur was having a hard time getting around on that fastball.
Well, he didn't throw a strike. That was off the plate. He tried to check his swing, but, you know, Francoeur is an aggressive hitter. And this is a fastball. Watch the swing. He'll swing at it, actually. Tried to stop it, but he couldn't do so. Fastball away. You can see he's late on it, actually. Just tried to foul it.
Now Adam LaRoche, and that's a foul out of play. Peter Gammons, I know you've seen a lot of Papelbon. You've followed his progress through the Red Sox farm system.
Well, John, 2 years ago when he was at Sarasota, Al Nipper was the pitching coach. He took him out of the bullpen. He was a closer at Mississippi State, made him a starter, developed all 4 pitches. So when he got to the big leagues last August, he had fastball, slider, split, curveball. Jason Varitek, as closer, just uses the 3 pitches, fastball, split, slider. But he says, you know what, when he gets a little bit more tired in the second half of the season, he may use that curveball for a little bit of a change of pace because, you know, there aren't many guys that come up to the big leagues, can close, and throw 4 pitches for strikes, especially when your fastball is 97.
Yeah, that's for sure. Gagne was a guy who had a wide variety of pitches when he was at his best as the Dodgers closer. Isringhausen used to be a guy who had a wide variety of pitches, but those guys, I mean, you can think of those guys because it's so unusual.
Well, closers need an out pitch, you know, especially, I mean, and the better the closer, the more out pitches he has. For Gagne, he had 2 or 3 out pitches. And with Papelbon, he's using a couple.
If you look at most of the great relief pitchers, they started in the minor leagues. Billy Wagner and Trevor Hoffman, guys like that.
The splitter hit on the ground, and Loretta throws out LaRoche, 2 down. Go ahead, Peter. They did a lot of starting in the minor leagues.
And they learned how to pitch. I mean, there are very few closers that just went right through and got to the big leagues. And I think you see a lot of these, the Ryan Wagners and some of these guys that signed as college closers, and they put them in the big leagues the next year. They never developed their pitches, and when they hit adversity, they run into problems. Dustin Hermanson had the same problem with San Diego a few years ago.
Well, that's a good point. Here is Wilson Betemit, 2 down, and that's ball 1. So after all of that, after an inning and 2/3 of fraught
chaos,
just total chaos, the Red Sox handed the ball to Papelbon, and he, of the horror movie glare, has shut down the Braves. 3 up, 3 down, and now he needs 1 out more. And the Red Sox fans, many have left Turner Field, but Red Sox fans are still here doing a Red Sox chant. That's left center field. That's into the alleyway. And it will roll all the way through out to Warren Spahn. A double for Betemit, his second double of the game.
And I think you made a good observation early in the game, John. You said Betemit is a good hitter. I mean, he really is. I've watched him, the last year and a half now. I mean, he is a good hitter. He handles a lot of pitches, doesn't try to do too much with it. His approach, he's off the plate a lot, way off the plate, but he goes into the ball. And when the ball's away, he'll go the other way. If the ball's inside, he'll try to pull it.
So, Betemit at second base, and here is Langerhans. And into center. That should do it. Crisp. The Red Sox have won it. The Red Sox sweep the series. They gain a game on every other team in the American League East. They're heading home to Fenway to take on Frank Robinson's Nationals with a 1-game lead over the Yankees. And for the Braves, the misery continues. They've lost 7 in a row and 17 of their last 20. SportsCenter is coming up next. We'll see you next Sunday night in Chicago, the White Sox, and Houston. Now for Joe Morgan, Peter Gammons, and our entire ESPN crew, this is John Miller saying good night from Atlanta. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.